and, as I told you he would, endorsed Kamala Harris. And for that, because this is I don't know if you're new here or not, but because this is a very political community, I have something for that as well. I have a song for Kamala Harris's vice presidency as well. We knew that this was coming a long time ago. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Kamala Harris is now very likely to be the official candidate, the official presidential candidate for the 2024 Democratic Party ticket.
They've been locked away in the mountainside, slapping fucking rocks, okay?
We are all K-Hive on this day, folks.
Naked, training themselves so that they can destroy the MAGA sickos. And if there is one force to be reckoned with on the internet, within the Democratic Party's constituencies, it is the motherfucking K-Hive.
We did it, Joe! We did it, Joe!
They go balls to the fucking wall.
That's right. Fuck all the haters. Fuck all the non-believers. It's coconut time. It's mamala time, baby. Woo!
Kamala Harris wants to vaccinate your children in the ass to make them all autistic and homosexual. She's working with the deep state. Come, more like Kamala Harris. She wants to make you never come again, but not in a puritanical good Christian way, but in a weird, freak-like liberal kind of way. Welcome to the cum zone. Deep state, deep in your ass.
Balls to the fucking wall.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and MPs, welcome to the cum zone. Welcome to the Hasanabi broadcast. Kamala Harris wants to vaccinate your children. That is a song by Satch, another community member that was made approximately 4 years ago on September 25th, 2020, gearing up for this moment.
And then QAnon Republicans are like, what the fuck?
IsItJover.com says it is 100% Jover, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. We're going to get right into it, okay? Folks, no personal news time with the exception of one thing. So you might be wondering, oh, fuck, I just stabbed myself. You might be wondering, Hassan, you're a little bit late. I mean, this is a pretty significant moment in American political history. Like, how are you not immediately on it? Like, why were you not covering it ahead of time? You said if he drops out, he's probably going to drop out on Sunday. If he drops out, he's probably going to drop out on Sunday for fucking a long ass time, right? And you were saying all of that, and that's because I knew it was going to happen, but I had other obligations to Twitch. We were actually setting up a really sick trailer for a debate, like for a show, like a secret show that we're doing, which you guys will, I hope, enjoy. That's not out yet, obviously. In the trailer, I was like, listen, guys, we pushed it back because last week Trump got shot. We were supposed to shoot the trailer last week. And then Trump got shot. So I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, obviously, I can't do the trailer tomorrow. And then and then they were like, okay, we'll push it to next week. And I was like, okay, well, next week, leading up to this like shoot, I was like, I know that Joe Biden is going to drop out on Sunday, guys. And they're like, no, you don't know that. Come on. I was like, no, I know he is going to drop out on Sunday. Like, I'm telling you right now, I can't be there. Like, they were like, oh, we set up a green screen for you. I'm like, you don't understand. I'm going to be fucking live for like 8 hours minimum, possibly 12 after this. So they were like, they were literally like, sure, whatever. We'll figure it out. I was just like, nope, big dog. As soon as I found out, March went, oh no, I was putting on my fucking stupid ass emo makeup on. Okay, having a grand old time, not having a care in the goddamn world. Okay, and March, who's also helping produce the show, points to me and goes, oh no. And I got the first text message from Austin, as a matter of fact. Austin Show was the first person to actually text me, it's Jover. And from that moment on, it was like, all right, I got the fucking emo shit on me. I'm not going to put this on ever again. I don't want to put it on ever again. Let's just take this shot. So we did we filled out that, but there was like 8 other things going on. Okay. And I basically, I was like, I'm done. I'm going. I grabbed Kaya, put her in the car, drove back. I had to piss myself so bad. I had to pee so bad on the drive back. I had to pee so fucking bad. I pull up to my driveway. The gate is not opening fast enough. I'm like, fuck this. I get out of the car. I run into the house. I try to unlock my door. I can't unlock my door. I pissed in my front yard. That's how bad my situation was. Yeah, that's what I did to 83,000 people that just came in. You get your political commentary from a dude who, I mean, it was in the grass, so it's fine. And Kaya was also peeing in the front yard anyway. So I was like, you know what? This is some alpha dog shit. I'm so hot right now. I was like, you know what, Kaya, this is how you're supposed to do it. Okay. I taught her the way. I taught her how to do it. And I did. That's the level of dedication that you get. For me, Hasanabi Piker, ain't nobody else out here doing it the way I'm doing it. No, that's not. The Capri Sun Poppy is wrong. That's not when I found out. I wasn't in this outfit at that point, but it's funny regardless. But I'm not joking when I tell you, like, I posted on my TikTok. I was like, oh yeah, we'll post this TikTok. We'll post this fucking TikTok first. Like, we got a bunch of these cool ass outfits. I'm going to get to the news in a second, by the way, obviously, right after this. Holy shit, what is happening here? I was like, oh, we're in these cool ass outfits. Let's do a TikTok with all each individual outfits, right? So we posted the first outfit. Like, I shot in the first outfit. In the spot, and I came with the fellas. We're in the middle of our second shoot right now, and Joe Biden has officially chosen to drop out. So I am going to be rushing home, and I'll be live in approximately 30 minutes. I knew this was going to fucking happen. That's real. That's actually real. We were in the middle of a shoot. We were in the middle of a fucking shoot, and that's actually what happened to me in real life. I had an opportunity. I was like, do I actually drive back home in this fucking emo gear? Or, yeah, I know I called it earlier today. Of course I called it earlier today. I'm shooting a show today for Twitch, so I most likely won't be live. Biden, you better not drop out yet. Yeah, but, you know, of course. That was like in the midst of... I'm shooting a trailer today for Twitch. I most likely... Someone make sure he's okay. No, I did it. I'm here. Are you playing a blue-haired liberal in the show? I'm playing a blue-haired liberal and a fucking red-blooded patriot. But yeah, I mean, this is the expectation. I'm such a messy bitch that, like, of course, campaign is canceled. I need some time to relax and bounce on dick. I'll announce Kamala when I feel like it. Whoo! Remember when I fucking told you guys? I said this is the most boring election cycle, but overnight it has the capacity to become the most interesting election cycle. We're there. We're officially there. This is now officially become a historic run. It went from a fucking rerun between a cadaver and a convict. Both people that Americans were tired of on both sides, regardless of policy. People were just like on vibes alone. They were like, bro, I don't fucking care about this. I don't want to fucking dial into this. I don't give a shit about this at all. And then overnight, guys, 7 days ago, Donald Trump, 45th president of the United States of America, Donald John Trump, got shot in the ear at a Butler, Pennsylvania rally. That was 7 days ago. It feels like 8 lifetimes ago. That shit happened only 7 days ago. Think about that. The writers woke the fuck up. They thought, you know what? We gave the NBA a goddamn dud. No 7-game final. Basically fucking blew out the entirety of the Mavericks. So they were like, turns out it's because they were writing the script for this shit, dude. They literally gave nothing to the NBA final script. So they gave it all to the fucking election cycle. As my main man, Vladimir Ilyich Lenin likes to say, there are decades where nothing happens, and then there are weeks where decades happen. We are in the week where decades are happening. We are now officially in that week, okay? We were in that week last week. We're in that week this week. It hasn't stopped being the week. You have to see this. There are days where decades happen. Those are the days Hassan doesn't stream. There are decades where days happen. Those are the days Hassan does stream. I mean, it's just like, dude, being out there in fucking downtown Los Angeles as a goddamn shoot with full emo gear on my fucking face, like, it feels like you're getting caught with your dick out. You know what I mean? It's like, how is that even possible? Anyway, That's besides the point. We're done. We're done with my shitty drama, not even drama really, but like my own silliness. We are getting into the news. All right, I'm just going to see what the fuck is going on. I don't want to watch MSNBC because I don't want to watch people who are suicidal. And I don't want to watch Fox News because I don't want to watch people masturbating, because I feel like both are, a violation of terms of service. So I'm just going to go right down the middle. Clinton News Network. We're going Clinton News Network. We're going right down the middle, CNN. Let's see what's happening.
President Biden and the campaign running in full force until the moment that he wasn't. There's no real way for you to run for president 50%. There's no way for you to sort of half be a candidate.
No, you can't do this. We can't do this. I cannot look at Rachel Maddow right now. I don't want to see, listen, dude, listen. I don't want to see someone on the brink. She's on the brink, big dog. Look at her. Look at her. She's on the brink. Step away from the ledge, Rachel. Don't fucking do it, Rachel. It's okay. Rachel is going to be all right. It's going to be all right. Don't do it. She's sitting. She's like bathtub toaster. She gets the call. She's like, fuck it. I have to go in for a little bit. We're postponing it for like 5 minutes. Let's get to Kamala Harris, or not Kamala Harris, CNN.
Right now about how exactly this race is going to unfold in the coming days and weeks. We are obviously in a really unprecedented situation, but it was important for a lot of people in the Democratic Party to hear the words coming straight out of the president's mouth that in his eyes, the person that needs to take the torch from the president is his deputy, is the person that he chose, is the person who he said could take on the role of the presidency on day one. I was just talking to campaign co-chair Cedric Richmond, and he said there's no question about it. This is an example of President Biden doing the right thing, and he said he was really glad to hear the president coming out to publicly endorse Kamala Harris, and that the campaign is going to be behind her, but sort of the machinations of exactly how the campaign is going to sort of transition over to making that sort of the campaign's operation in the coming days. Obviously, all of those things need to get figured out. But look, I think if there was a scenario where the
bro, immediately they're switching up the narrative so fast. I told you. Bakari Sellers, Kamala is running against the oldest nominee for president of the United States in American history. I mean, the man is nearly 80 years old. And so the question is, can he serve another 4 years? I'm not sure he can. Now, every single one of these indecent motherfuckers straight up were like, Joe's not old. How dare you say that? Every single one. What did I tell you? I told you there's no fucking Biden or bust in this goddamn party. They're all just fucking ruthless machine politicians with bad fucking instincts. It didn't even take 30 seconds for these motherfuckers to switch up. They were trying to fucking gaslight us. Oh, Joe Biden is not going to drop out. You're out of your mind. He's actually sharp as a tack, okay? He's actually sharp as a tack. The moment that they fucking switch it up, what did I tell you? You think Harry Sasson is going to be out there? He's going to be out there being like, yeah, actually, I'm a Biden dead ender. Sorry, Biden or bust for me. I wanted a candidate that's like 800 years old, you know? Kamala's too young, too vibrant. You think that's what they were going to say? There were people in this fucking community that were trying to tell me, Hassan, Biden is actually really popular in certain demographics, and that the media or certain aspects of the Democratic Party are really riding with Biden. Like, no, they're not. They're just careerist pieces of shit who did not make the right calculation. Okay? Vindication after vindication. Put some respect on it. Obviously, put some respect on Uncle Cenk, too, who's been fucking dialed in on this issue for months at this point. People made fun of him. Not me, of course. I'm riding with Cenk as always. But he was right 100%. He was right from the jump. 2024 is the year of Hasanabi vindication so far. Anyway, but I can't be the only one who's a Biden dead ender. I lied this entire time. As a obvious political commentator, as a unbiased political journalist, political commentator, I always try to tell you not what I think, but what the public wants to hear. And for that reason, I must reluctantly tell you that I will not be voting for Kamala Harris because I was riding with Biden. I'm the only one in America, in the United States of America, that was actually like, I need the 800-year-old carcass. Okay? I need him. I need him in my veins. I need him. Just kidding. Of course not, because I'm not a fucking idiot. All right. Holy shit. All right, let's continue. Let's see what Bakari Sellers, who was selling us the idea that Joe Biden is fine not that long ago, what is he saying now?
Work to do. And so I'm going to be on the phone tonight calling delegates, getting them, whipping them up, trying to get them on board for Kamala Harris. I don't think that's going to be a difficult task. In anything else, the vice president.
Where's Jamie Harrison? Where's Jamie Harrison? Bring him to me now. $100 million lost in front of Lindsey fucking Graham. Then the Democratic Party puts you on the DNC chair. Where is he? Where are you? What happened? I don't want Bakari. I want Jamie. I want to see his piece of shit. I want to see that piece of shit on television on the front lines going, yeah, everything I lied about for the past fucking like 6 months is actually, I was just lying. What are we doing? We put a motherfucker who does not know anything about campaigning, who got absolutely bodied by Lindsey Graham, an in-the-closet gay man in the fucking Deep South, who is one of the least popular politicians in Congress. Jamie Harrison dumped $100 million into that race, got fucking cumstered, and then what did the Democratic Party do? The Democratic Party went, you know what, Jamie? You're the GOAT. You're the GOAT. You lost gracefully, so you should lead the DNC. Oh my God. And what did Jamie Harrison do? For those of you who are, just tuning in, and those of you who are wondering what the fuck's going on, Joe Biden has dropped out. But these characters that I'm pointing to right now are the characters within the Democratic Party who just kept telling us a lie. Something that we can see with our own two fucking eyes. I've been saying this since 2019. Since 2019, I said, Joe Biden has lost his fucking step. He is not the Joe Biden that would have won in 2016. He is not the right person for this fucking party. In 2019, I said that obviously I was biased. I'm a Bernie bro. I was a Bernie or buster. I was busting for Bernie pretty fucking hard. That was one of the reasons. But there was a very valid reason not to put Joe, because he was going to drop the incumbent advantage come 2024, because he was too fucking old in 2019. People knew he was old in 2019, but the media gaslit us. The media kept telling us, no, this 85-year-old man, this 800-year-old demon is actually running on the best adrenochrome you've ever seen. He's perfectly fine. Nothing is wrong. And then 50 million people watched Joe Biden look like all of our collective grandparents, okay? 50 million Americans watched the president of the United States of America basically play the role of grandpa that's unfortunately, lost not only his step, but his mental fucking faculties. And then after that debate where 50 million people watched, 50 million Americans watched Joe Biden fail to demonstrate basic competency for weeks, if not an entire month. I don't even know. My concept of time is so out of whack at this point because, like I said, 7 days ago, Donald Trump was shot, and it feels like a lifetime ago. But I think it was a month ago. For an entire month, we played this song and dance on television with donors where all of the family members of Joe Biden were basically saying, come on, Grandpa, you can't drive no more. We have to take the car keys away from you, Grandpa. We have to. And he stood by and said, fuck no, I'm driving this goddamn car. If you can't drive a vehicle, you can't drive a nuclear submarine as the commander-in-chief. One. Number two, the only people in Joe Biden's orbit that obviously wanted him to stay in the race was like Hunter fucking Biden and his immediate family members and like 8 people in the Progressive Caucus. That's it. And Joe Scarborough. Never forget. Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski, Jamie Harrison, the DNC chair, Bakari Sellers, and a couple select few members were the people that were like, no, Joe's good. I'm riding with him. I'm riding with Biden, behaving like Biden dead enders as though he was the best possible choice here. Oh my God. And it was wild. I felt like I was going crazy. A couple years down the line, we are going to look back at this moment and go, remember when the president's like inner circle, Jill Biden, his wife, his children, one of which is literally a convicted felon and like a person who very famously has more pictures doing crack than sober, okay? Those were the guys who were like, you have to stay in this race, honey. You have to stay in this race. When the entire country was like, what are you doing? 67% of Democratic Party voters were like, we have to swap Joe out. 67%. 70+% of the entire country, 70% of independents. The entire nation was like, what are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? So yeah, I will be taking a fucking victory lap on this day, and I will not be nice about it. Oh my Lord. You should have known. You should have known when Hillary Clinton came out, okay, like 3-4 days ago and said, no, Biden should stay in the race. Listen, I get it. You feel like you deserve to be the president. You felt like it was your time in 2016 and you got ritualistically humiliated and refused to learn any lessons from that humiliation. And then you stuck to it. And now it sucks because there's another woman. There's another woman with a likelihood of possibly winning the presidency, as a matter of fact. And it's those words are never going to be Madam President Clinton. If it happens, it's going to be Madam President Harris. It's going to be Kamala Harris. And that probably just stings you right in the fucking heart. Every time you think about that, you're like, ah! And you deserve it because you're a bad person. Hillary Rodham Clinton, you are a bad person. You brought Donald Trump upon this nation for 4 fucking years. You're incompetent. You and you alone and all of those in your immediate fucking circle is responsible for Donald Trump. They did the Pied Piper strategy. They propped up Donald Trump. They said Donald Trump would be the best possible person to run against, and Donald Trump defeated you. Your instincts were so bad. You're like, Wisconsin, I don't need to go there. Why the fuck would I go there? You know what I mean? Oh, blue wall my ass. And for a moment, I thought this was a rerun, that this election cycle was seemingly a rerun. Bad candidate that many people are not enthusiastic about going up against an unknown entity in 2016, but a known entity now, for better or for worse. And I will get into that in a second. But I told you, it's like, this is not a 2020 rerun. This is a 2016 rerun. We have a person who's gripping on when everyone else is reading the fucking room and recognizing that this situation is untenable. This is not good. It's not good at all. That he is going to most likely lose to Donald Trump. Okay? Here's the DNC chair, Jamie Harrison, only 48 hours ago. What a difference 48 hours makes. We'll see. Oh, we'll fucking see, baby. We'll see what kind of difference that makes, won't we? Haha. Let's see what he had to say, actually. You know what? Let me be ruthless today. Let me be a piece of shit. Let's see what he had to say. He said, just in case you didn't know, I'm still riding with Biden 2024.
The polls that are most important to me is when I hit the ground and I interact with folks. Look at the crowd that Joe Biden talked to at the NAACP.
Can you imagine bringing up crowds when you're Joe Biden and you're running up against Donald Trump? Joe Biden never in a million fucking years had the same level of fandom as Donald Trump. He did not. And he never did throughout his entire political career. Okay? And he did not when he was the vice president. That was for Obama. And he did not when he was the president. Okay? And he is the president still. The idea that you would ever bring up something that Trump is objectively good at, which is no metric of success anyway, because Trump drew significantly larger crowds in the 2020 election and still lost to Joe Biden. The idea that you would bring that up when you're running against Trump is so fucking stupid. Because the reality is 67% of Democrats said that they were voting against Trump. They were not voting for Biden. Whereas 60% of Republicans say they are voting for Trump. That's the difference. Okay? That's the difference. So for him to be like, oh, he draws a lot of crowds. Like, who are you lying to, man? Who the fuck are you lying to?
These are folks who are leaders, black leaders in communities across this country.
And then bringing this up, 52% of black voters in the Democratic Party said that they want to replace Joe Biden, that they said he was not competent enough to be president even. That's also bullshit. It is 100% a cynical weaponization of identity, which Democrats love to do. They love to do it. They did it to Bernie, and they were doing it to keep Biden in the race. Biden is not black. Kamala Harris is. Fuck you mean black people want Biden? What a ridiculous fucking statement. Like, they were literally gaslighting in the worst ways possible. They were literally like, yeah, no, black people want Biden, so you're fucking racist because you say, no, a black woman should be the presidential candidate. Like, you're racist, actually. And it doesn't even fucking matter what Kamala's background or identity is in this circumstance. I'm just simply saying that, like, it was that ridiculous that they were just acting as though the vice president, which is chosen as a replacement for the president, was not good enough. But what do you expect from Biden, who literally openly said, "Oh no, I'm picking a VP not because of their background or anything, but because she's a black woman." He said that. He said that with Ketanji Brown Jackson, who I actually like. Ketanji Brown Jackson is the only defense attorney, the only public attorney, okay, that has ever sat in the fucking Supreme Court of the United States. She had qualifications out the ass. She is a better representation of the American public in terms of the Supreme Courts of the United States justices than anyone else. And they literally cut that in the most cynical way by being like, "Well, we put a black woman. We put a black woman in the Supreme Court." It's like so gross. Leaning in to the worst instincts of the leaning into the worst messaging from the Republican Party. Okay? Oh no, they went private. The Biden accomplishments guy. What about Biden's wins? What about Biden's wins? It's so funny how the moment the money stops coming from the donors, they switch on Biden. Listen, buddy. It wasn't just the donors, but unfortunately for all of us, the only way to get these fucking assholes to do anything is through the donors. Okay? Is Harry Sasan okay? Of course he's okay. He's going to be the most loyal Fedayeen for Kamala Harris. A lot of these guys who openly said, no, I'm riding with Biden. You guys are wrong. They are all going to immediately turn around and, of course, endorse Kamala Harris. They're going to advocate for Kamala Harris. Okay? Of course they are, because they want to be party loyalists. I told you, no one in this goddamn nation was going, "I'm voting for Biden because I like Biden and Biden alone. He is so charismatic. I love his policies. I love his legislative agenda." No one was doing that. That is precisely the reason why Biden was actually getting outcompeted with down ballot candidates in key states he has to win. Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, even. Like everywhere in the country, Biden was like getting outperformed by fucking Amy Klobuchar. Okay? By like 10 points. You were jerking off Biden 4 years ago. Kekleo. That's such a funny thing to say, because there has never been a moment where I have ever fucking given this dude even an ounce of credit that he does not deserve. If we talk about the NLRB under the Biden regime, great. Okay? I've defended that. If we talk about actually pulling out of Afghanistan, that is brave. Okay? That was the right thing to do. I'll stand by that. But everything else, especially in the lead up to the race and everything else post the race, he has gone back on. Don't be ridiculous. Oh, anyway, do you have any guesses for who Harris will choose as her VP? White man. One of the whitest men you can find. Okay? One of the whitest, most straight men you can find. Okay? Not even like a little gay, not even a little zesty. Like you can't even have someone like maybe a little zesty. It just has to be like, it's like a rerun. Barack Obama's perfect counter was like a racist, goofy white guy, Joe Biden. Kamala Harris's counter has to be like the driest white boy to ever do it. Okay? And I don't mean like Tim Kaine style white guy. I mean like an Andy Beshear or a Mark Kelly, that type of guy. Okay? If there's a cop dome, that actually fucking works even better. Mark Kelly does have the cop dome, the cop phrenology. JB Pritzker is great, but I don't think that'll be the case. But I like JB Pritzker. We need a tubby man. We need like a big rotund boy. We need to bring back big boys. I mean, look at this, bro. Draw dropped at this pic of Bashir's family. Bro, that's what I'm talking about. Motherfucker looks related, dude. And I don't mean just with his parents. No. Bashir is actually pretty solid. That's a joke. Those are jokes. Those are jokes. Okay. All right. I need to sit down. Holy fuck. Holy moly. What a fucking day.
Or not with his senior most staff. This was him informing his staff that the decision was made. I also just want to note, in the letter that he sent, he said he is going to focus the rest of his term on making sure that he is finishing out the rest of the first term as well as he can, and really focusing on really just doing the duties of the presidency. What he didn't say there.
Do the right thing, Brandon. Cut all aid. Put BDS on the map, Brandon. Do it. Netanyahu fucked you over. He fucked you over. You bear hugged him. He was a fake friend. Okay? Take that phone call when he comes in to the American Congress. His arrest warrant should be out by then. Okay? Coordinate with the ICC. Get that arrest warrant application to go through and then arrest his ass. I swear to God, dude. I swear to God. I will door knock for Kamala Harris. I will go around the nation. I will tell every single person to vote for Kamala Harris if this happens. It's not going to happen, but if it did, that would be pretty cool. Okay.
Making the right decision, there is also a lot of anger, a lot of bad blood, a lot of hard feelings about the way all of this was handled by various Democrats in the party. I was on the phone with campaign co-chair Cedric Richmond, and he unleashed some really harsh words on the donors that in recent days had refused to give to President Biden. And he said that what the donors had done was create a self-fulfilling prophecy, because essentially when the money dries up, there is no way that you can win. And he was saying, look, the donors basically ensured that this was a no-win situation for the president. He said the donors now better pony up, and we are actually seeing the first signs of donors actually turning around and saying, yeah, now that he has decided to step down, we are going to continue supporting this ticket. Wolf.
Dramatic developments indeed, and historic developments we're watching very, very closely right now. MJ Lee at the White House, we'll get back to you. We'll get back to our panel shortly. I want to go to Caitlin Collins, who's also covering all of this for us. Caitlin, these are dramatic developments, and it's come as a surprise to a lot of us after the President of the United States for days and days kept saying he's in it to win it. He's not going anywhere. He's staying in the race. Then all of a sudden, he posts this letter to the American public saying he's no longer.
It wasn't all of a sudden. Everyone knew it was coming. I knew it was coming, and I'm a fucking dumbass, okay? I don't have insider sources or anything. Well, maybe a little bit, maybe some. But come on. Everybody knew it was happening.
Improved significantly. So that could also play a factor in how we are learning this dramatic breaking news from the president himself in a letter that was posted online announcing he is not going to seek the election and the Democratic nomination for this November to challenge Donald Trump for the presidency. Jamal Simmons is here with us. He is a CNN political commentator, but also, and more importantly in this moment, the former communications director for Vice President Harris. And Jamal, I want to talk to you about the Harris dynamic of this, because Senator Mark Warner of Virginia has just lined up behind her. We're watching closely to see what Democrats are saying about this. But first, you worked inside the Biden White House. What's your reaction to this news from the president?
You know, it's an incredible amount of, we kind of thought
the DNC chair blocked me. Oh, damn.
Right. I mean, Joe Biden is this American hero. He's such a patriot.
It's not sad.
Saved us from Donald Trump.
No one is sad.
If you're a Democrat.
Literally not a single person is sad. Hunter Biden is sad. His ass ain't getting a pardon. Oh, no. Oh, his ass is going to federal prison, big dog. Okay. That's the one guy who's sad right now, and he can suck me. I was a big Hunter Biden advocate for the longest time until I saw his fail son ass in the fucking White House, attending meetings with the fucking staffers, sitting side by side with Joe Biden, being like, nope, please keep running, Papa. Please keep running, Papa. Bitch ass.
Saying essentially that he did not believe Biden could defeat Donald Trump if he remained on the ticket. But with Biden's statement about 20 minutes after he posted this letter saying that he is going to endorse Vice President Harris as the Democratic nominee, we're watching these statements. We're seeing people like Senator Mark Warner, progressive House member Jamal Bowman getting behind her as the Democratic nominee. Is that what you expect to see?
If Republicans try to run the gambit of being like, we're going to sue to make sure that like Kamala is not on the ballot before the convention even happens, okay, the entire nation will collapse on them. Do you understand me? That was one of the many reasons why I said there's no fucking way that they're going to like try and hold this up in the court system. They can try because they're panicking right now. That is the worst possible thing that they can do. Why is that the worst possible thing they can do? Because that feeds into they want to end democracy. They have no respect for democracy narrative. A smart staffer, and I know many of you motherfuckers are watching me right now. If you are in those fucking rooms, that's the angle. Oh, really? The convention didn't happen, and that's how scared they are that they can't run a normal race. So they're going to try and do like the exact same thing that they did last time, like with January 6th when they tried to do false electors, when they wanted to like do some weird court process to undermine the will of the people. Really? How about you fight on November 5th? How about you fight in November? Why are you trying to fight in the fucking court process? It's the easiest messaging dub of all time. Mike Johnson called it illegal. These fucking pieces of shit in the Republican Party, they have the audacity. They're like, oh, sorry, you can't do that. Fuck you mean you can't do that? There's no procedure that is actually was put into motion. Okay, you can cry until you have no more tears left. Oh, 14 million primary voters who cast their ballots for you. Am I right? Fuck them up. You're fucking them over. Suck my dick, dude. Your account's called End Wokeness. Keep crying, okay? These are the types of people who like imagine trans people in their minds and then fucking have an aneurysm, okay? These are not serious people. Get the fuck out of here. Keep crying, dude. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so wonderful. It's so brilliant. Oh, my Lord. Cernovich, I thought it was Jack Posobiec. By any objective analysis, we witnessed a coup. Yeah, dude, totally. Totally. Yeah, they're chirping. They're chirping so hard because they know that Biden was a weak candidate. And they know that anyone that's like even remotely competent is actually going to be a stronger candidate than the fucking carcass. There's enough movement. There's enough momentum. There's enough movement and enough momentum in the Democratic Party. They got juice right now. They got motion. Okay? They do. Now, I need you to understand something. They can still fuck it up. And the Democratic Party always fucks it up. Okay? So these upcoming months are very important. Okay? They're very important. Kamala Harris has to basically undo a lot of the last minute motions from the Biden administration without actually creating a big enough rift in the party. Okay? It's not going to be from Kamala's side. It obviously is going to happen with competent competent administrators around her. And I really do hope that they have that. Okay? CNN, avalanche of donations pouring into Harris campaign. President Joe Biden is a patriotic American. Dude, I verbatim told you. I could have written these fucking quotes. Joe Biden is a patriotic American who has always put our country first. His legacy, vision, values, and leadership make him one of the most consequential presidents in American history. With love and gratitude to President Biden for always believing in the promise of America and giving people the opportunity to reach their fulfillment. God blessed America with Joe Biden's greatness and goodness. I told you, he is a wonderful man. We're going to preserve his legacy. I told you verbatim that's what they're going to say, and that's what they're saying. Of course, that's what they're saying. You said a white man for advice, but I'm trying to think Buttigieg is up there and the gay thing might make it hard. Nah, I don't even think Pete Buttigieg like reads as gay. I think Pete Buttigieg is just like not very likable. He's too much of an elitist. And Kamala Harris is already like got that. You need a salt of the earth type dude. Okay. You don't need a guy who is basically like gay and a little bit more charismatic JD Vance. That's what I think though. Who knows what the Democratic Party will do? Okay. Endorse Harris now. Are you supporting Kamala Harris? Good job, Nancy. You pulled off another insurrection. Totally disappointed with the elites, the Democrats, and the MSM. Joe Biden did not deserve this hack job. I will continue to vote for Joe Biden. That's a bot, okay? That's not a real person. Get the fuck out of here. By the way, obviously, this community, well, right now we have 117,000 people in here, okay? So this community is a little bit different. Well, right now, there's probably a lot of normies in here as well. Having said that, however, okay, by and large, this community is a little bit different than other communities. We pay a lot of attention to politics. We're kind of losers that way, right? And not just when like shit starts popping off. So what do I mean by this? Why am I saying this? Because a lot of normies that see this shift will actually register to vote. I believe it. Okay. We're brain broken. We already have made up our minds a long time ago. However, a lot of normies, a lot of people on TikTok, a lot of people that are in demographics that literally were just like, I'm not too invested in this race. It's a rerun. My life is not better. Will actually start paying attention. And that's why it's very important. It's very important that Kamala Harris stays strong on her messaging, sticks to issues, and actually says, like, look, you know, we are continuing this progressive agenda. It's bold. We are not letting the Republicans ruin democracy. We're not letting Donald Trump become a dictator on day one. None of that. And we're also restoring reproductive rights for everyone in this country. We're going to do that. We're going to fight tooth and nail. Okay. We're going to claw back those civil liberties that the Republican Party tried to take away from you. Okay. That's right. No more ad breaks at the top of the hour. Sometimes they come in the middle of the hour because I'm an hour in now, 3 minutes long. Okay. No more. Care for all, gifted subs for all. The top of the hour and sometimes in the middle of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do that for $6. You can do that for free with a Twitch Prime. Twitch Prime is free. Mess Survey, thank you for the 5. Akabidi, thank you for the 20 gifted subs. Thank you. We're going to look at Donald Trump and what he had to say as well. Here's the 3-minute ad break now, Jack. That was not part of the storyline. No, she's running on gifted subs for all. Anyway, I'm so fucking fired up. A lot of people will be like, oh, this is like your Super Bowl. And it's like, they don't understand. I do this when there's 10 people in here. I do this when there's 1,000 people in here. I do this every day. You're paying attention now. But it gets me very excited that a lot of people are now paying attention to politics. Makes me very happy. Okay. What about Josh Shapiro? I think Josh Shapiro is too green. Pennsylvania is a key state, and he actually outperforms Biden on some of the polls. I mean, he gets like, he has like almost a 10-point lead on Donald Trump if he was at the top of the ticket. Obviously, those are like one-off polls. There's not a lot of those polls. There's a unique. He's very like he would clear Pennsylvania. It'd be a lock. Having said that, however, he is a lesser known entity in the Democratic Party. So I don't know about Josh. Anyway, Taylor Swift, brother, is the win. Anyway, you know what I think? You know who I think should be Kamala Harris's running mate? Joe Biden. And if Joe Biden is not interested in the vice presidential position, then it should be Jimmy Carter. And if it's not Jimmy Carter, we should just find the oldest possible person we can. You know what I'm saying? Why not? Fuck it. YOLO. You know, it seems like that was fine. Yeah, reach across the aisle. Get Dick Cheney to be your VP. He has a lot of experience in that field anyway. Joe Biden said, my fellow Democrats, I have decided not to accept the nomination and focus all my energies on my duties as president for the remainder of my term. Verbatim what I told you he was going to say. My very first decision as the party nominee in 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as my vice president. And it's been the best decision I've made. Today, I want to offer my full support and endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year, Jack. Cut the malarkey, Democrats. It's time to come together and beat Trump. Let's do this. Let's do this. Thank you. Watch me. I'm going to finish the job. I'm going to finish the job, Jack. Thank you. Anyway, here's the deal, Jack. Anyway, I shouldn't say that. In a phone call with CNN minutes after Biden announced his exit from the 2024 race, former President Trump responded, he's the worst president in the history of our country. He goes down as the single worst president by far in the history of our country. Oh, dude. Oh, he is coping. He's worried. He's panicked. He's fucking panicking, dude. Come on, dog. He's panicking hard. You know, his entire fucking campaigning strategy is just dust now. Okay. They had it. They were like, he's the perfect person to run against. If there's one Democrat we could easily fucking beat, is Joe Biden. It's motherfucking Joe Biden. And now they got to cast aside all those campaign ads. They got to toss them. They have to toss them. They have to restart. Whoo! Everything that the RNC did, even though they tried to message it, why is my family calling me in this moment right now? That's crazy. Even though Everything that they did, they tried to on the last second swap to like a unity message. They tried to make it seem like they weren't attacking Joe Biden. Donald Trump mentioned Joe Biden by name like once or twice. You know what I mean? And just kept saying this administration. All of that is still hollow. It's still gone. It's Jover for them. Okay, it's freaking Jover for them, baby. Whoo! Ken Klippenstein with another leak. What happens to this account if Biden loses? The name of the account is Biden's wins, not Biden's loses. There are no plans to lose. He said, any updates to this? Oh my Lord. Fucking prophetic. Yeah, I love Veep. I might do a rerun. I might watch Veep again from the start because this is a very Veep ass election cycle. Straight up. Fell in line 20 minutes ago. I'm 100% Kamala Harris. You should be too. Retweet and follow to make sure all Americans are ready to defeat Donald Trump. Of course they are. Of course they are. They immediately started a new account called Kamala Harris's Wins. Wow. What is this? Biden lettuce? Oh, we had our own version of this? Well, I guess the lettuce won. We had our own version. By advocating for Biden to drop out, Hassan said in the motion, the end of Western civilization as we know it. I hope you are happy, sir. Bro, your name is Anatolian Alt. What are you talking about? Anatolia will rise again, brother. Don't worry. Anyway, let's check in on Donald Trump, who is definitely not mad right now. Let's see what he had to say. Crooked Joe Biden was not fit to run for president and is certainly not fit to serve and never was. He only attained the position of president by lies, fake news, and not leaving his basement, which is a cell phone, by the way. That is, you're owning yourself. You're saying that a cadaver basically like was on a stretcher the entire time and stretched his way into the presidency against you, the powerful being that you are, supposedly. Okay? Just a reminder for that. Also, what happened to unity, sir? Where's the unity? All those around him, including his doctor and the media, knew that he wasn't capable of being president, and he wasn't. And now, look what he's done to our country with millions of people coming across the border, totally unchecked and unvetted, many from prisons, mental institutions, and record numbers of terrorists. I suspect that if there is any narrative damage that is the most significant to the re-election campaign, to the election campaign now of Kamala Harris, it was done by Joe Biden at the last minute when he tried to pull this fucking right-wing Donald Trump's own border policy agenda. Okay? It's very, very important for the Democrats to just move away from that as quickly and as expediently as possible, because I don't believe that the American population, no matter how reactionary they may get on immigration, are going to like putting their name in association with a guy who keeps saying Mexicans are rapists and they are killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. Okay? That's his argument for the upcoming election. That is insane. You are not only hallucinating, but you're actually now hallucinating at a level where it's like objectively untrue. Okay? It's like, I was thinking about this last night. He's like, hundreds of thousands of Americans are being murdered by undocumented migrants every year. That's what he was saying, right? And it's such an insane thing to say that if someone counter messages against that and goes, you're out of your mind, that is objectively untrue, empirical evidence suggests, like, there's no data for this. Data actually shows the exact opposite, that undocumented migrants are responsible for less crimes per capita than natural-born U.S. citizens, okay? And they keep hammering that in, and they keep trying to explain to people what the process in which the deportation of 10 million plus people living on U.S. soil right now would look like, and how similar that is to Nazi Germany. Americans will move away from that. Americans will go, okay, that's a little bit gross. Okay? Oh, you lost Americans in empirical. I don't care. That part is fine. They don't have to say that. The content will be unleashed if Biden gives the green light.
Pop out and show niggas. Certified boogeyman. I'm the one that up to score with him. Walking down whole time. I know he got some hoe in him. Pull on him. distort shit. Bully the flow on him. Say Drake, I hear you like I'm young. You better not ever go to cell block 1. To any bitch that talk to him and they in love, just make sure you hide your little sister from him. They tell me Chubb's the only one that...
That's the other side of this. Like, Americans love tough on crime narratives and shit. And it's like, you have a prosecutor, a former prosecutor, like, I don't like that. But average voters are going to look at this and be like, that's a former prosecutor going up against a convicted felon. If Trump was not a convicted felon at this point, that would be a different dynamic. But Americans do care about that. They fucking hate the idea of voting for a convicted felon. The ones that are deep in the pocket, deep MAGA, they don't give a shit. Donald Trump could literally, in his own words, execute someone on Fifth Avenue and they'd still vote for him willingly, okay? But this, for the old folks, oh my God, this shit would go kind of nutty for the old folks. It would go kind of crazy for the Rust Belt. All these people that are also swept up in the crime panic narrative. Amy Harrison, DNC statement. The American people owe Biden an enormous debt of gratitude for the unparalleled... Okay, shut up, Jamie, you bitch. It's a little bit dependent on which narrative the Republicans go with. If they turn around and try to go with like, Kamala Harris was actually a woke DA or something, then it's a little different. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm thinking about it right now. There's a lot of things happening in my mind. Okay, too many things at once. We didn't even talk about my fucking fat ass dub against the FaZe boys yesterday. That was crazy. That was wild, but that's besides the point. I've officially reached, for those of you who were watching yesterday, I officially reached UNC status, UNC status, as a matter of fact. So that was pretty fire. Zoomer's calling you Jokic. Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, shoot. Yep.
Max got facialed. Anyway, I doubted, and to be proven wrong. Yeah, all my doubters, where they at now? The news has been so stacked lately that you've barely had a chance to cover the ICJ ruling. Yeah, I covered it yesterday. Hey, gang, just woke up. Did I miss anything significant? I found out Biden dropped out from the race from Hassan the Hunt's TikTok. What the fuck? That's why I posted that TikTok. I thought it'd be the funniest possible way for people to find out that Joe Biden dropped out of the race. RFK probably going to drop and endorse Trump. We'll see. I could see that happening. Even though RFK Jr. was like, I mean, he's crazy, man. I could see him fucking endorsing Kamala Harris, low key, because he's a weird dude, brother. He's a weird fucking dude. It's less likely, but it's more likely that he definitely. It's more likely that he endorses Trump. But he's weird as fuck, dude. He's weird as hell. Anyway.
Get your hand-me-downs and party at the party playing with his nose now. And Baca got a weird case. Why is he around? Certified lover boys, certified pedophiles. Wop, 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 wop. That fuck 'em up. Wop, 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 wop. I'ma do my stuff. Sometimes you gotta...
Not if Trump offered him a position at the FDA or some shit. He had pork tapeworm T. soleus that caused cyst formation, seizure, and brain. Med student here. What? Yeah, I mean, either way, he drops out, and like, it's probably beneficial for the Democrats regardless. Rachel Maddow says, I don't think there's going to be another one whisper of a fight in the Democratic Party about getting behind Kamala Harris, adding that this is not the start of an open primary and Harris will be at the top of the ticket. I do think that it'd be a bad idea.
Really scared about what happens next and whether the Democratic Party can come together. What would you say to them?
I think that the Democratic Party was in really bad shape with the concerns about the enfeebled public appearance of the president. And that debate shook people, not only because it was one bad performance, but because it underscored, reified, and validated some niggling concerns that people had had about the president's age and his...
The fuck kind of word was that? What? What did she say? What?
It underscored, reified, and validated some niggling concerns that people had had about the president's age and his health and his capacity. And it
I have never heard that word in my entire life. I'm sure it's a normal word. I've just never heard it.
Absolutely split the Democratic Party into a million different pieces. And with that status of the Democratic Party heading into November, I think that alone would have meant that the Democrats had essentially zero chance of prevailing in November. President Biden has endorsed Vice President Harris. I don't think there is going to be one whisper of a fight in the Democratic Party about getting behind her. I think that the Democratic Party will now unify like nothing you have seen from this party in many years around the necessity of supporting her and of building the kind of campaign you have never seen before to try to keep Donald Trump from returning to the White House and from undoing the American system of government. The endorsement of President Biden of Vice President Harris, I believe, I mean, I could be wrong, but I believe that will be seen as...
Bro, Kamala pulls a fucking Keir Starmer and is like, all of a sudden, Kamala Harris pulls a Keir Starmer, all of a sudden, the specter of communism is not only haunting Europe, but also haunting America. Oh my Lord, dude. I mean, not going to happen, obviously, even though her dad is a Marxist professor at Stanford. But you know, they're not exactly on good terms. I'm just saying, dude.
A period at the end of the sentence underscored, let's go. And it'll be, you know, there will be technocratic stuff that needs to happen in terms of getting her at the top of the ticket and the delegates and the convention and all that stuff in the campaign. But this is not the start of an open primary. And if the Democrats want to start a primary in late July and thereby commit electoral suicide, I will be surprised. You know, Democrats have surprised me before. But this means that Vice President Harris is going to be at the top of the ticket. And what this is going to mean for Joe Biden, I mean, by running with Barack Obama in 2008 and then serving ably as...
So a couple angles of attack from Republicans immediately, okay? One, they're going to say if Biden, obviously Trump already mentioned this. I've talked about this in the buildup to Biden dropping out. Couple angles of attack are going to be if he can't actually run for president, how the fuck is he supposed to be president, right? And to them, the counter is pretty easy. You just say, look, I think Americans deserve like a younger, more vibrant, more dynamic person. And I did my job. I've been in office for 50 plus years. You know, I've been in office for so long that I think it's like the right thing to do. I think I wanted to give the Americans an opportunity to put a fresh face on this like bold progressive agenda. Right. And I feel like there's an effective counter there for that. But that's one thing that they're going to do. They're obviously also going to try and sue at every state to be like, no, you have to put Joe Biden on the ticket, even though he's literally not even the fucking candidate yet. The convention hasn't happened yet. So another avenue of attack is obviously that like Kamala Harris was the vice president and she knew that Biden's mental faculties were not in order, which is why I thought that was another angle of attack, an avenue of attack that is like pretty solid. Which is why I thought that the Democrats could not be so open and so bold about Joe Biden's mental faculties diminishing, which is why him staying in the race post that debate or even doing that debate was really, really stupid. But if that debate had not happened, ladies and gentlemen, today I will say this. I want to thank all of the fucking idiots in Biden's orbit, in Biden's close circle that thought that debate that happened this early was a good idea, that Biden will be able to demonstrate competence in that debate. Because if it wasn't for them, we would be fucking slow rolling this demented old man into the convention. And I would be still screaming for the fucking rooftops that he's going to get cumpstered by Donald Trump because he's going to keep having those moments. He's going to keep having those moments. And the Trump administration is going to keep fucking, or the Trump campaign is going to keep hitting those moments over and over again. The tweet that changed it all. Yep. Thank God. Thank the fucking Lord, dude. Holy moly. Obama's release statement. For now, Michelle and I just want to express our love and gratitude to Joe and Jill Obama said. They're such phony little bitches, dude. Yeah, fuck Obama. I mean, he is just objectively a bad person. Like anyone who kept Joe Biden in the race for this long and then doesn't immediately turn around and go, I'm 100% fully behind whoever is the top of that ticket, which is Kamala Harris, is a bad person. Okay. If you care about the Democratic Party, or even more than that, if you care about Donald Trump not being president again, you can't behave in this snake-like fashion, okay? This is some snake shit, straight up. This is just like personal pride and being fucking annoyed with the situation and not like, oh God, and not immediately fucking falling in line because it's outside of your control in the party. Anyway, is there going to be a Harris-Trump debate? There has to be. Are you kidding me? If Trump doesn't do a debate against Kamala Harris, remember, Kamala Harris actually performed fairly well in the debates, even though she obviously was deeply unpopular in the stacked Democratic primary. But Kamala Harris did perform fairly well in the debate. She had a couple pop-off moments. She is a prosecutor at the end of the day. She will, I think, cook Donald Trump. She will be able to cook Donald Trump. They just got to get her off those downers and put her on some uppers. Okay. They literally got to swap out. She needs to not be barred out ever again. And then from this moment on, you know, put her in a fucking vat. Let her go cold turkey. No more Xanax for Mamala. Only uppers from this point on. I want her fucking cracked out like Hunter Biden on the main stage. You know what I'm saying? Doing cartwheels and shit. Okay? You got the uppers already on deck for this fucking corpse. Give him to Mamala. Let her fucking thrive. Okay? My name is Harry Sassan. I'm 21 years old and I'm fully supporting Vice President Kamala Harris in 2024. Who's with me? Of course he is. That's my goat. No disrespect to Harry Sassan on this broadcast, okay? I love him. This happened to you too, bro. What is this? They said get your ass back into the studio. What is this? Enjoying a Wolf Spritzer at El Presidente restaurant here in DC. They said get your ass back to the studio. It's true. This happened to me as well. Objectively. Do you think they will run with a Kamala versus felon Trump narrative? Potentially. I don't think it's that bad of a narrative. Democrats have raised $5 million in just over an hour. Holy shit. Jesus Christ, dude. Listen. The fight is not done, okay? There is still, you know, this is not a moment of celebration beyond the fact that Genocide Joe is out, okay? Jim Crow Joe is out, and it's like a very different race now. But in some respects, it's not all that different in the sense that Donald Trump is still very much, he's a weak candidate, but very much a candidate that has a shit ton of momentum. Okay. This swap out, I hope, will activate a lot of those in the margins, a lot of young voters, Hispanic voters in general, that have not been paying attention in key states. And Kamala Harris's genuine separation from Joe Biden on the issue of Palestine will actually play a significant role here. Okay? It will. Kamala Harris, months ahead of Biden, kept leaking to Politico and other outlets that she was like for a ceasefire, that she was just like that to me absolutely shows decent political instinct, regardless of the fact that she's been really awful in the past 4 years with respect to how she's like basically hemorrhaged her staff, and how, you know, she's played the role of like you know, a person doing side missions and kind of goofy overall. Anyway. Yeah, Kamala Harris defends anti-Israel college protests as speculation mounts she could replace Biden in a race. This was on July 9th. Okay? You put a woman in office, you get World War III. That's so funny. Yeah, no, totally. You're right, chatter. Women are so emotional, am I right? And not Donald Trump, who is like very clearly super competent and unemotional, famously. That's awesome. Dude, it's 2024, man. How are you still operating with these ridiculous fucking narratives? Like, I don't understand. Are you a fucking ape? Are you a goddamn caveman? Like, what kind of a statement is this? And I'm not even saying like Kamala Harris doesn't have a shit ton of weaknesses. I certainly did not want her as the candidate in 2020, okay, in those primaries. Like, I'm not exactly super fond of Kamala Harris either. This is not the moment for that. That's neither here nor there. And I will get to that eventually. But like, to say it's because she's a woman is so stupid. And especially when one of the most pressing issues on this election is going to be on the boundaries of women's reproductive rights. Okay? Thank you, Mr. President, for your service and stepping aside. Yeah, Austin is doing victory laps right now. Oh, my God. Oh, my Lord. Let's see what they're saying.
To Mike Johnson. And how tough of a call do you believe this was for him?
No, I think that is
He's
ridiculous.
crying.
I think President Biden has shown in recent weeks his ability to handle and manage complex international matters, to continue his lifelong record of service and his legacy of leadership in foreign policy.
Bro's
and to make hard
crying.
calls.
Okay, this is glazing. This is glazing. This is too much.
Stronger and safer.
It's too much. It's too much, Chris Coons. You can't be doing that. That's too much. That's illegal, bro. You're crying about an 82-year-old
We are
man.
still negotiating our annual appropriations bill.
He didn't die, bro. He didn't die. He's still alive, barely, but still alive, motherfucker. What are you doing?
Peace in Gaza and a stable and more secure future for Israel and the Israeli people. Joe Biden has more experience in foreign policy than any national leader. And to have him step aside now, I think would be
Dude, yeah, we need to keep Biden in the office, actually. The one guy from Delaware who's like, we got to keep him in office.
And I know you've got to go, Senator Coons. You're joining us on just breaking
Yes.
news that is happening as of this moment. Last question: President Biden said that he'll address the nation later
that's
this
my
week.
opinion.
For people watching,
that's what I'm thinking. That's the Rust Belt, okay? You know, that's like everyone in the Rust Belt is basically like, I'm a Wisconsin voter who works at an HVAC business, and I was thinking like, I want a president that will protect Israel. That's what I was thinking. You know, that's my one vote. Okay. I'm a Western Pennsylvania voter. Okay. I worked in the fracking industry pretty much all my life. And I'm thinking, who's the president that brought Finland and Sweden into NATO? That's my guy. I'm writing with Biden. I will write his name. Okay. I will write as a writing candidate. He is my guy. I don't care. I'm not voting for anybody else. Okay.
and he laid out for what we could do together if we put down the tools of partisanship, come together as a country and legislate and solve problems. 3.5 years later, I've had a chance to watch Joe Biden sign into law landmark bills, the most consequential legislative record since LBJ. And I expect you'll hear from him when he speaks in a few days about his confidence in the American people, the urgency of our coming together and putting aside partisan bickering and embracing the bright future that our country can have if we will just work together.
Yeah, massive news from him this afternoon. Senator Chris Coons, thank you for jumping on with us on this breaking news. I really do appreciate your time.
Thank you, Caitlin.
This is CNN Breaking News.
And if you're just joining us, I'm Wolf Blitzer in Washington, D.C.
My
Caitlin
goat.
Collins is joining us
My
from
goat,
New York.
Wolf.
I want to welcome our viewers here in the United States and around the world. We're following major breaking news. President Biden has just dropped out of the 2024 presidential race and is publicly endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris to be
Thank
the
God.
Democratic presidential nominee. He made this historic and stunning announcement just before 2 p.m. Eastern earlier today, sending out a statement that reshapes the 2024 presidential race just 1 month before the Democratic National Convention in Chicago.
And Wolf, we're learning that Biden made this decision within the last 48.
It's wild because technically Wolf is drinking on the job again today. Is we know that he was objectively getting zooted off his own fucking alcoholic beverage, the Wolf Spritzer. Okay, my man is drunk as a skunk right now. Okay, he's in the Situation Room going, yeah, that's right, baby, we did it. We did it. We served a 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. We did it again. At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. For $6 now because of fucking Brandon inflation. Okay, Brandonomics. Or for free with a Twitch Prime. Twitch Prime is free. Or you can get gifted a sub if you're lucky. There's a
Joining us
3-minute
from
ad break
Rehoboth
now.
Beach in Delaware, where the president is in isolation right now. Give us the latest. What are you hearing over there, Priscilla?
It's so funny that he has COVID too right now. This is
Well,
hilarious.
as the president was self-isolating at his residence here in Delaware from his positive COVID diagnosis, these were also days of self-reflection, days where he was clearly deliberating his next steps and whether or not he would run for re-election. We had that answer this afternoon when he put out that letter saying that he would step aside. Now, importantly, right after putting that out, he also said that he was fully throwing his support behind Vice President Kamala Harris to be the Democratic nominee and urging the party to come together. It was a remarkable moment after weeks of Democratic lawmakers, allies, donors calling for the president to withdraw from the race over the last few weeks. The president has had multiple private conversations with lawmakers. He has tried to assuage their concerns on the campaign trail, but none of it was enough as lawmakers were still putting out letters just yesterday telling him he had to step aside. Now, this morning, to show you how quickly all of this came together, his campaign was saying that President Biden was in it to win it, that he was staying in the race and not going anywhere. But then hours
was it that quick, honestly? Like, was it that crazy? Like, was it that
before
crazy?
putting this out, he had notified his senior White House and campaign teams that, according to a source who spoke with our MJ Lee, and I am also told by a source that he spoke with Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, in the moment since, donors too have been throwing their money behind the campaign. That too was a challenge for the campaign. So clearly a stunning development and one that has been shocking to campaign and White House officials.
They put the money faucet on.
President in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware.
10 bands, baby. They put the money faucet on. They turn it on like that. They were like, "Yep, that's up. That's right. Get your money up, not your funny up."
Well, these have been some 3+ agonizing weeks for President Biden and those close to him, even amid all of the growing calls that Priscilla was just talking about since that debate in late June. The president initially had very much dug in. He made very clear that even with the polls that he was being presented with, the data that was showing that things were not looking good for him, we know of private conversations where he insisted that he was, in fact, seeing polling and data that showed that he could defeat Donald Trump. One thing that I think is so important for us to just look back on for a second is President Biden, when he was running for the presidency back in 2020, he had described himself as a bridge and a transition candidate. And after that disastrous debate performance, a lot of Democrats were asking the question of, well, whatever happened to that? And I thought we got a really insightful answer from the president on that just last week. When he was asked about this, he said, I thought I was going to be able to move from this to pass it on to someone else, but I didn't anticipate things getting so divided, is what the president said. Earlier this year, when I asked him at a press conference, basically the same question, why does it have to be you on the ticket, given that so many voters across the country have questions about your age, your health and fitness? He said because he believes that he is the most qualified person to do the job and finish the job that he had started. So the picture that has emerged, Wolf, over the course of his presidency is that the president came into this job at the White House very much intending to be a transition candidate. But once he started doing the job, it became clear to him that it was going to be more difficult than he could have ever imagined for him to pass the torch, as he had once made clear he wanted to do back in 2020. Now, we should make clear for our viewers that the president, in announcing that he was going to drop out of the race, he also endorsed his vice president, Kamala Harris. And now the party is in a place where, even given that endorsement, they need to actually figure out the process of how they move forward and decide who that nominee is going to be. We got an important statement from former President Barack Obama, and this was a really key line.
Governor Newsom cancels his appearance at the U.S. Ninth Circuit Judicial Conference.
He said, we will be navigating uncharted waters in the days ahead, but I have extraordinary confidence that the leaders of our party will be able to create a process from which an outstanding nominee emerges. So, Wolf, just in the moments after this remarkable news from the president that he was going to be leaving the race, we have heard from a lot of different Democrats and a lot of different voices, too, who fall on different sides of the argument. Should this be sort of a coronation with the president endorsing the vice president, or should there be a process that plays out where the party really gets together and figures out who that candidate is going to be? But one thing is for clear, the clock is ticking, and this has been a concern for so many Democrats, as we have all been waiting for a decision from President Biden. Wolf.
And we're just about 2 weeks or so away from that Democratic convention in Chicago that will officially nominate the Democratic presidential candidate. We're watching all of this unfold. MJ, I understand that the Vice President Kamala Harris has issued her first public statement. I don't know if you have it right there, but presumably it's on your phone. If you didn't have it, maybe you could read it to our viewers.
Yeah, I've got it, Wolf. We do have the first public statement from Vice President Kamala Harris in the aftermath of President Biden dropping out of the 2024 race. She says that she was honored to have received President Biden's endorsement and intends to earn and win the nomination for the presidency. This, of course, is the first time that we are hearing from him. We did report earlier that President Biden and Vice President Harris did speak on the phone earlier today. That is not surprising. Just a little bit more from the Vice President's statement here. She says, I am honored to have the president's endorsement, and my intention is to earn and win this nomination. And she also says, talks about how it has been such a profound honor to
We're
have
looking at the
served
statement
as
right
the
now on
president's
CNN.
vice
Kamala's
president,
statement.
expresses her gratitude to First Lady Jill Biden as well, and talks about sort of the relationship that they have built over the years, including the relationship that she had with the president's late son, Beau Biden. This, of course, is something that the president has talked about in the past as having been a factor when he was trying to decide who his vice presidential running mate would be back in 2020. The vice president also says in her statement, with this selfless and patriotic act, President Biden is doing what he has done throughout his life of service, putting the American people and our country above everything else. Wolf, all of the attention now is going to really be on Kamala Harris. This has already been the case for the last several weeks, as we have been sort of in limbo, trying to see where the president was going to land in terms of his own decision. But of course, given that things seemed headed in the wrong direction for the president for a while now, there has been a lot of speculation about Vice President Harris and whether an endorsement formally would come from the president, which of course it has. And so now we are going to be paying close attention to everything that she does just in the coming days. How does she carry herself in public now that this news is out? Does she sort of step up her campaign operations?
Here, I mean, you can run this. You can literally run this. You can literally run this as an ad now. Like,
sick of this? Well, think about this. He's a world leader in temper tantrums. She never loses her cool. She prosecuted sex predators. He is one.
Grab him by the...
She shut down for-profit colleges that swindled Americans. He was a for-profit college.
At Trump University, we teach success.
Literally. He's owned by the big banks. She's the attorney general who beat the biggest banks in America and forced them to pay homeowners $18 billion. He's tearing us apart. She'll bring us together. This is Trump. And in every possible way, this is the anti-Trump. So if that's what you're looking for,
bro, call me Coco Melon the way I'm coconut pilled right now. Okay, I don't know. I'm feeling the momentum.
There's really only one, Kamala.
I'm dude, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad.
You were just talking about what this day means and the significance of this in a personal level.
Bro, stop crying. Stop crying. You used to be a fucking Maoist. Stop crying. Oh my God, bro. He already cried earlier. He's crying again. He got to take his fucking glasses off to cry one more time.
Statement where she plans to earn and win this nomination.
I think that's very politically astute of her.
This man used to be a Maoist third worldist in San Francisco, bro.
Take the rules very seriously. Technically, Joe Biden can't just say, you're now the nominee. If Joe Biden stepped down from president, the Constitution says she's automatically president. But this is not about the Constitution. This is about the Democratic Party. And under our rules, it's the delegates who make the decision. It's not Joe Biden. It's not Kamala Harris. It's not Nancy Pelosi. It's not the Clintons. It's not the Obamas. Our delegates make the decision. And so she's being very politically astute by saying to the delegates, I am going to work to earn your support. I appreciate the support I'm getting from the Clintons and from everyone else, but I understand that it comes down to you. And by saying she's going to work to earn that support, I think that's very, very smart. So that gives the delegates the opportunity to feel that they can, they have a job to do. They have to make a decision here. Also, I think that she's letting other people know the water's warm. You want to jump in? You want to get some? you can try to earn these delegates' support as well. She's not saying, if you come against me, it's a problem. She's not closing the door. She's not saying, I accept Joe Biden, therefore I'm in. No. So that puts other Democrats in a very interesting position. If you're a swing state governor, if you're a rising star in this party, if you're a celebrity, if you're somebody who wants to say, look, I don't believe in Kamala Harris. I don't trust that she can win. I think I can win. What are you going to do? You're going to have to make the decision that, no, I'm going to raise my hand and I'm going to say, I think I could do a better job. I think I can win Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan. I think I've got a better shot. And I want those delegates to listen to me. So you're going to have to watch over the next 24, 48 hours. Does anybody else raise their hand and say that they want to also earn the nomination? What she's acknowledging is the nomination is not yet hers. And that's a very, very big deal. That's a true fact. But, in other parties, you might just have somebody just demagogue it, steamroll it, say, everybody get behind me. I am now going to lead this party. She's not doing that. Very politically astute.
But, Vin, you've been involved in Democratic politics your whole life. To see the Clintons, the president, top senators getting behind her as the nominee, do you think anyone else, if you are a governor or a Democrat who has a lot of star potential going forward, that they'd be brave enough to kind of get in this ring at this point with seeing who's lining up behind Harris so far?
It would take an extraordinary amount of self-confidence and belief in self to do it. But are there doors that are still open? Yes, there are doors that are still open. For instance, Pelosi hasn't yet said she's for Kamala. President Obama, as usual, is staying very, very neutral, at least publicly, to make sure that, because he is the rock star of rock stars in this party, that he doesn't tip it one way or the other. And so you do have some doors that are still open. And so, but the grade just got steeper because Joe Biden gave the endorsement. He gave it immediately. The Clintons came out immediately.
Oh, there was another funny thing. Donald Trump literally donated to Kamala Harris while she was a candidate for state attorney general. A total of $6,000 in 2011 and 2013 combined. So that's something to remember. But I also want to check in on our fellow defiant dads, specifically out of Brooklyn. Hold the line. We got this, he said. And then, and then he got the news. I hope he's doing all right. He was pretty fucking defiant. He was defiant till the last moment, okay? Which was kind of ridiculous. As I stated, these guys, these Biden dead enders were like hallucinating a world in which like Biden was going to crawl across the convention. Oh, my Lord.
I believe Kamala can win at the top of the ticket. I don't believe this. I don't believe that. I think I can do it. Kamala Harris just said, come on in, the water's warm.
Well, and you know what I thought about when I saw that both Clintons got behind her? I was thinking of Hillary Clinton, because she is a woman who knows what it's like to run against Donald Trump. And that could be the position we see Harris in. We don't know yet. Obviously, we are keeping our powder dry. We're waiting to see what Democrats decide here. But it does seem like that's a scenario the Trump campaign has been prepping for. They have been singling out Harris. I noticed it multiple times when you and I were in Milwaukee last week for the Republican convention. And I just wonder what, on its early basis, what you think that race would look like, a Harris versus Donald Trump.
I will give kudos to Nancy Pelosi for pushing Biden out. I will. She did that. She did that shit. Even though at the last second she was like, maybe we have an open convention, which I didn't like too much. She talked to Politico yesterday, which I didn't have a lot of time to cover because I was balling. But that was not great. But everything else, aside from that, she has been very active.
Women. That's something that the Trump team does a lot.
I think she's angling for Newsom, which I don't think is a good idea, especially because there's too much Newsom has too much stink on him. A lot of people like him. But not for president, obviously. I don't think that she will try to cook the ticket like that. That would be ridiculous. But a double California ticket is crazy. Is actually kind of stupid.
Especially black voters who are so critical. And so you've got a real matchup here, because you've got somebody who has at times been a very, very strong in that prosecutor role. Most people think about Kamala Harris. They don't think about her as vice president. They think about her being in the Senate, grilling nominees from the Trump administration, grilling CEOs, just going after people and putting them in their place. So that side of her personality gets a chance to come forward now in a very different way. Kamala Harris won a lot of support from people when Biden stumbled. Biden stumbled. He didn't do well in the debate. Everybody was freaking out. And I was sitting right next to Anderson Cooper when Anderson Cooper brought Kamala Harris on. She was cool. She was calm. She was collected. She was strong. There was no time for anybody to hand her talking points. There was no time for anybody to write up a speech. There was no teleprompter. She had to just literally walk out there.
Okay, bro, they're just glazing. Oh my God, they have one speed. I swear to God, they have one speed. It's just glaze mode. They switched it up. They switched on our boy. They're so fake. Fake friends all around us. You know what I'm saying? They're just like, that Anderson Cooper response was mid, okay? Kamala Harris was not exactly cooking in that fucking Anderson Cooper response in the immediate aftermath of the debate. To be fair to her, it was an impossible situation to like massage your way out of, to message your way out of, to manipulate your way out of. You couldn't do that. And she didn't actually do a great job either, but fuck it, who cares?
Biden, but for Trump, he
Slightly.
just became the oldest presidential nominee in American history. Van Jones, obviously, we're going to be watching all this very closely. Van Jones, thank you for that. Wolf, back
by
to
the
you.
way, Elon is losing
And
his
Caitlin, thank
fucking
that for me
mind.
as well. Our viewers are always.
Elon Musk said he's dumping 45 mil every month to a Trump super PAC. Then Trump came out literally the next night at the RNC and said, if you own an EV, you're gay. Literally. Elon Musk, who is still, you know, one of the quote unquote founders / he's still the CEO of Tesla, right? I mean, most of his bread is buttered by Tesla. And this motherfucker was like, oh, I'm giving 45 million a month to Donald Trump. Donald Trump turned around and said, I'm going to abolish EVs, basically. At his RNC speech, he didn't spend as much time as he did on immigrants, but he basically was like, EVs are gay. You can't have an EV anymore. It's illegal. And this dumb fuck is still riding for him. Okay? He's still riding for him. Trump walked it back when he heard 45 mil. Yeah, but it doesn't matter because he's still like very anti-EV in his rally. So what's that about?
And anybody that votes for the head of the United Auto Workers, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's approved all
That's
of...
not what he said, Law. You just lying. Yes, brother. He didn't say if you own an electric vehicle, you are a homosexual. Are you new here? Obviously, that's not exactly what he said. I'm just saying he immediately came out against EVs in his RNC speech. Insane. Chatters are like, dude, that's not literally what he said. Fuck you. Yeah, I know.
electric cars. And you know, Elon, I love Elon. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's approved all electric cars. And you know, Elon, I love Elon Musk. Do we love him? I love him. And anybody that long, massive tubes and they're landing gently right on the dot. I said, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And you say, how long would it take government to come up with that one? I don't think they ever heard of it. Perhaps they still haven't heard of it. But, you know, he's a very advanced person, and he's doing other things that are great.
Yeah, he's advanced, all right.
We have to make life good for our smart people, you know? We have some smart people. We have to make life good for our smart people. And he's as smart as you get. But Elon endorsed me the other day, and I didn't even know this. He didn't even tell me about it. But he gives me $45 million a month. A month. Not 45 million. Gives me 45 million a month. And I told...
Of course, he has to be dick eating right now because that's a lot of cookies, okay? That's a lot of money. And he needs it. He needs it bad.
Just a little while ago to say I was coming here, how you doing? And he didn't even mention it. He didn't mention. I mean, other guys, they give you $2 and you got to take them to lunch. You got to wine them, dine them. No, he's a great guy. He really is. But, you know, he's never mentioned to me, why are you hitting the electric cars? Because he understands I'm not hitting it. I think it's incredible. I've had them. I've driven them. They're incredible. But they're not for everybody. Some people have to drive long distance.
Yeah, now he's like retriangulating. He's like, yeah, you know, it's not for everybody. EVs are still gay, but some people are gay, and I'm okay with it. Meanwhile, Elon is posting through it right now. Trump vans, let's fucking go. Trump vans, let's fucking go. It's like, dude, you are such a fucking loser. I swear to God. You are so demonstrably dumb. You are so objectively dumb. Oh my Lord. Trump fans. Biden's announcement. Here's a fun little chaos moment. One last incredibly chaotic moment from the messy bitch who loves drama, Joe Biden. Biden's announcement stunned White House and campaign aides who up until this afternoon were insisting he'd stay in the race. We're all finding out by a tweet, said one Dem. None of us understand what's happening. Yeah, you guys don't understand a lot of things, do you? There's a lot you don't understand, I think. Like, for example, you didn't understand that, like, you know, you could just hold on for dear life to a carcass because you're an opportunist careerist, okay? Yeah, I mean, I have all the smoke. I do not care about these people's, interest in the matter.
Going to outline, particularly on foreign affairs, the very dire situation we are in this country, and a movement, whether it is, think about Vance and opposing funding for Ukraine. He's going to talk, I think, a lot about foreign policy. It is his lane, and it's going to be very statesman-like, very almost Churchill-like, I think. And he's capable of delivering that kind of speech, and I look forward to hearing from him.
Senator Heitkamp, thank you. And if you were just joining us now, it has been an extraordinary moment.
By the way, Americans may not realize it, but they just witnessed a civil coup. No, dude, this isn't a fucking civil coup, okay? This is a party actually behaving like a fucking party. Like, it's ridiculous. Biden can technically be VP again. Yeah, he should do it. He should run for VP. It's just like, it's getting Biden to come to terms with the reality that is in front of the party. Okay? That's it. That's not a coup. They didn't like force him out. They didn't put a fucking gun to his head. They didn't use the military. It's ridiculous. Biden is still the president of the United States of America. He's just no longer running for re-election. How would you know? You're right. They put a gun to his head. They hit him with the COVID beam.
As early as last night to his staff was that he is staying in. It is full speed ahead. She said that this is a decision that the president himself only came to very, very late before the actual announcement went public. She also told the staff that now they need to put their head down, they need to stay focused, and she said they need to protect Vice President Harris. And that is where all eyes are going to be in the coming days. I am told by a senior administration official that President Biden is expected to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu this coming week, and that Vice President Harris is as well. Every move that the vice president makes, her influence on the global stage as well, any campaign stop she makes, that's where the microscope is really going to be under. And another key point as all of this is playing out, since we last spoke, Rachel, there's been a pretty significant development when it comes to the donor class. So a donor I had spoken to earlier said that so many of them were in disagreement about the best way to move forward, that a lot of them did not want to see a coronation of Vice President Harris. They wanted to see some sort of mini primary play out in a very expedited fashion. Well, now since then, you've had powerful senators and Congress people. You've also had the Congressional Black Caucus. You have had major names, including the Clintons, come out and say they are all backing Vice President Harris. Since those developments, I'm told that donors are now quickly coalescing around Vice President Harris. And we're also learning that more donors are asking about how they can pitch in, how they can give more to Vice President Harris. So you are seeing a big shift just in the last several minutes and in the last hour.
Selena, I want to ask you, because President Biden has made it clear that he wanted to have that second debate with former President Donald Trump. It's an ABC News debate that was supposed to take place just weeks before the election, coming at a very critical...
They have to do another debate. Trump will look so weak if he says no. Like, he will look so incredibly weak. Americans want to see the matchup.
Again, on the debate stage.
It's going to be another fucking banger of a debate.
Away, potentially, if she is the Democratic nominee, do you believe that she'll want to get on a debate stage with former President Donald Trump?
There are just so many questions at this point, but she would be a strong debater. She's a former prosecutor. This is someone who can really go after and attack people. That is what she is known for doing very well on a public fashion. So she would be a strong contender, I'm told by multiple people, against former President Donald Trump. She will know exactly where to hit him and where his sore spots are. And when it comes to the vice presidential debate, of course, now all eyes are on who would be her vice presidential pick, right? But this is probably going to be full steam ahead. I've still got to work the sources, work the phones to figure out exactly what their plan is on that debate. But Vice President Harris, I'm told, would be very strong.
Thank you, Selena. And I want to bring in now our chief Washington correspondent, John Carl. John, you're getting word and hearing reaction from Donald Trump's running mate, Senator J.D. Vance.
Yeah, it's a relatively short statement, Rachel, and it perfectly encapsulates how Republicans will deal with Kamala Harris on the assumption that she becomes the replacement at the top of the ticket. So this
means auto win for Trump? No, it doesn't. I think a lot of people are it's entirely dependent on who the VP is, but more importantly than that, how the Democrats message going forward. Okay? But no, it is not an automatic dub at all.
Anything you could attack Joe Biden for, you can now attack Kamala Harris for. The statement goes on to accuse Kamala Harris of, quote, covering up Joe Biden's mental capacity, saddling the nation.
The only counter to that, by the way, is to say Joe Biden is still completely mentally fit. Just lie and say he's still completely mentally fit to run the country. But running for re-election while also running for the country or running the country is entirely two different dynamics. And Joe Biden did this because he wanted to be a more capable administrator in his last couple of months in office, because he loves this country that much, and he wanted to present a fresh new face to the American public that will continue his legacy even better than before.
Democrats from pushing forward with this effort to replace Joe Biden by saying there would be legal challenges if there was an effort to make a change after the primaries, but they are now pivoting to a race that they expect that they will now have against Kamala Harris.
And, John, we know that former President Donald Trump out on the campaign trail, while he has focused much of his attacks on President Joe Biden, he's also attacked Vice President Kamala Harris as well. If she is, in fact, the Democratic nominee, how do we expect the Trump campaign to take on Harris?
Well, they're going to make much of the fact that she was given responsibility for dealing with the problem of undocumented immigrants coming over the border. Now, she wasn't the border czar. That's what Republicans labeled her. She was given the job of dealing with all the migration that was coming up from Central America. But they will portray her as the one that was in charge of the border, which, of course, is issue number one for Republicans.
Yeah, so except this is why I thought, this is exactly the reason why I thought
to make an issue
Joe Biden fucking hitting a right-wing slant on immigration was an unimaginably bad move. I think this is her biggest weakness, because she's seen as the border czar, and it is the weakest issue for the Democrats. And Americans have become increasingly more right-wing. So going forward from this moment on, they need to say oh, we are trying to be the adults about the border situation. We want to process migrants more. The Republicans want to put them in concentration camps. Don't even talk about your policies on the border. Talk about how Republicans want to put every person with even any kind of Hispanic origin, any kind of Hispanic background, directly into concentration camps. Because the way Republicans always benefit from putting out these bold declarative statements without any emphasis on what that policy would look like in action. They did this with abortion, okay? Oh, Democrats want to do abortion, at 9 months. Democrats want to do abortion at 9 months. Abortion is murder. Abortion is murder. Look where that got them. Objectively unpopular, okay? Objectively unpopular. And is part of the reason why the Democratic ticket still holds a little bit of weight in this country, despite the fact that many Americans experienced negative real wage growth for 2 fucking years under the Biden administration. Okay? So, for that reason, what they have to do is cut against the narrative and explain to Americans what it would look like to deport tens of millions of people that have lived on U.S. soil, that have participated in the American economy in incredibly important ways, and how unimaginably cruel and devastating that reality would be. They should have done this for the past 4 years as Republicans were cutting this kind of narrative. They should have done this for a very long time. They didn't do it. They still have an opportunity to try and reframe the narrative. Now that there is a new slate, now that there's a blank slate to a certain degree, okay? Now that there is a blank slate to a certain degree, this is an opportunity to restructure. I genuinely think that if they try to go, oh no, we went hard on the border, We are the border. I'm the border czar. I went hard on the border. Donald Trump is lying. He didn't want to do the right-wing immigration bill that Joe Biden presented because, he was just like, he wanted to use the border as a talking point. That is weak. That's weak nuts. That is really, really bad. Okay? That's really fucking bad.
Happy with a rerun. They weren't happy with the candidates and the choice that they had. And now they've got they will have a different choice. And if it's Kamala Harris, it is that generational choice you're talking to, not in the number 2 spot, in the number 1 spot. And Americans, they've been telling pollsters this for a while.
Kamala
they
tweeted
yearn
again
for a new kind of politics. All of a sudden, Donald Trump looks like the man from yesterday. Trumpism and the MAGA movement.
Oh, let's hear what Axelrod has to say. He was urging Biden to drop out months ago.
I mean, it's, Van Jones was talking earlier about what a tough decision this must have been for President Biden. And when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, I mean, to go from a little over 3 weeks ago, showing up in Atlanta to debate Donald Trump, and then to this decision now.
Can you help me get paid from Hutch? He blocked and banned me from his chat when I try to collect. He's been calling both you and I idiots. So the bet is if Biden wins 2024 presidential election, if he does not, I get 500, or if not, I get 500. Assuming he runs against Trump, yeah, he's the incumbent. If he's not president in 2025, I win the bet. I'll accept a $500 bet within those terms. I mean, yeah, he's not going to pay you. I'm going to be honest with you. He is probably too busy, deleting his tweets about how everyone is stupid for not riding with Biden.
Donald Trump, and that may well be Kamala Harris. I think some of her supporters have done her a disservice because they say, well, she's there, she's historic, you can't bypass her, and so on. The real case they should be making is why she'd be the strongest candidate, and there are some really strong arguments to suggest she would be, but she might be stronger if she comes through a process.
For people saying Kamala Harris is a black and Indian woman and Americans are sexist and racist and will not accept this, you do not understand. There is one side of this story. You can overcome these weaknesses, I guess, if you can outcompete the other side. Barack Obama was the first black man, was the first black president. How was he able to do that? It was because he fucking absolutely destroyed Hillary Clinton in the primaries, and he was able to put forward a clear and coherent and very bold, very progressive agenda. Okay? Change. Hope and change. He won by pretty fucking solid numbers. He not only won, but he also had a Senate that was a super majority for the Democrats. He fucked it up, but that's besides the point. Okay, he became this neoliberal demon immediately after he got into office, but that's not what we're talking about right now. His middle name was fucking Hussein, and we were a lot closer. We were a lot closer to the worst kinds of Islamophobia you've ever seen. A motherfucker whose name is Barack Hussein Obama, okay? Barack Hussein Obama, who Hillary Clinton's camp literally called a Muslim, okay, was able to become president. Problem is Kamala Harris charismatic enough? Is Kamala Harris going to be able to put forward a clear and coherent message that Americans respond to positively? Will she be able to overcome some of the weaknesses of being associated with the Biden regime? These are real problems here because she's not an unknown person to a certain degree. She is a known entity. She was the vice president. Lucky for her, they only talked about how silly of a goose she is. She was like, oh yeah, she's so silly. She laughs a lot. She's stupid. That's what they presented her as. So we'll see. Senator John Fetterman, people pushed out an honorable man, loving father, and great president before an absolute sleazeball like Menendez. Congratulations. Yeah, no, he's just worried that people whose brains don't work too good are getting pushed out. That's what it is. He's got his own personal motivation, okay? He's like, oh, you don't like it when someone is stupid? Like, I thought Americans wanted car crash victims in positions of power. I don't understand. Thanks, John Fetterman.
Week, but in the rest of the country, not so much. He's a vulnerable candidate and can be beaten, and Democrats are going to begin to focus on that. There's a lot of sadness about the president. a lot of love and affection for him, but I think people are also steeled to the task at hand.
Yeah, I spoke to Trump moments after Biden put out this statement, and he called him the worst president in U.S. history. And then he said that he does believe Harris would be easier to beat. Obviously, we don't know if that's who he'll be facing in this election, but this is not just uncertainty for Democrats, it's uncertainty for the Trump campaign as well. David Axelrod, stand by because I want to get back to you, but we also have Abby Phillip here joining, CNN anchor and CNN's senior political correspondent. And Abby, I mean, this is just such a seismic moment in this campaign. I wonder what you're hearing from Democratic sources, from donors about what this new landscape looks like now.
Yeah, Caitlin, I've been talking to a number of people today and definitely over the last several days. And the big thing right now is how quickly can Vice President Harris consolidate this field. And I spoke with a top fundraiser for the Biden-Harris campaign who's in touch with dozens of donors who said, you know, right now, this is hers to win or to lose. And frankly, she has 24 to 48 hours to do so. But this person did not believe that there was any sort of truly organized effort to push someone else other than the vice president.
I love when the Republicans are like, oh, dude, Harris is such an easy lock. Like, it's going to be so easy to defeat her. Meanwhile, they're simultaneously trying to get all of their lawyers to sue in every state to keep Joe Biden on the ticket. Harris is so easy to beat, which is why we're certainly not fucking panicking right now on the Republican side.
Also said that the donors are prepared to back her, and that's going to be critically important. This is being viewed by many people in the Democratic Party as the path of least resistance. She has the clearest path to inheriting the campaign infrastructure, the clearest path to inheriting the money that has been raised by the Biden-Harris campaign up until this point. And the other thing, you know, talking to another source who's very close to the vice president, there is a lot of concern about the really compressed timeline right now to get all of these ducks in a row. There are so many decisions that need to be made, so many parts of this that are completely unknown, and even the people who are the most supportive of her, who want this to eventually end up with the vice president as the top of the ticket, they are worried, is how this person put it to me. So look, the next day or two are going to be extremely critical. One of the other factors in all of this is going to be which candidate is best positioned to actually get the delegates, because that's really where this ends up at this point. And many people close to the vice president have stressed to me there are a lot of structural and political reasons why she is by far in the best position. When we talk about the importance of black voters and black delegates are to this Democratic Party, that's not just a talking point. It's a real practicality about where the powerhouses are within the Democratic National Committee. And those are the people in the coming days who are going to decide how this goes and who this goes to. And I imagine shortly after that, the discussion about who would be her running mate is going to accelerate as well. I'm already hearing, as I'm sure you are as well, a lot of whispers about that as well, Caitlin.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the amount of the ways that Democrats' phones are blowing up today, it cannot be overstated. I mean, everyone is talking about this and asking that very question. One, who's the nominee going to be? And two, if it is Harris, what does that ticket look like? Abby Phillip, we'll continue to report on this, continue to have those conversations. Let us know what you're hearing. We also have Scott Jennings, a CNN senior political commentator, here with us. Scott, I mean, this is just as much uncertainty for Republicans as it is for Democrats. You heard what former President Trump said to me moments after Biden announced this. We're already seeing a well-funded super PAC of his attacking Harris, something they had kind of been preparing in case this very scenario happened. What does this moment mean for Republicans?
Yeah, it's shocking. I mean, if I had known the second coming of the Lord Almighty was going to happen on the East Coast this weekend, I wouldn't have gone to San Diego. I'd have been there with you. But here we are, 3 weeks after the Cheap Fakes, by the way, episode, which the most embarrassing gaslighting that ever happened. I mean, Republicans are going to paint Kamala Harris as
mad.
Joe Biden.
She's mad.
Been number 2 in the administration that has a mid-30s approval rating, that's overseeing this inflation crisis. She was the border czar.
He's so
for the
mad
immigration
today.
crisis that everybody is mad
Fuck
about.
you,
and
Scott.
on top of that, she's been one of the principal ringleaders of the cover-up of Joe Biden's actual condition. So I hear I've been listening for the last couple of hours, a lot of crowing and pumping up.
Scott is the Republican on the CNN lineup.
Not a great politician.
For those of you who
She ran
don't
for
know,
president once, and it was a complete
mad.
disaster. And right now, it looks like she, Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, and a bunch of rich people have just pushed Joe Biden out of this race and in the process disenfranchised millions of Democrat voters.
Yeah, yeah, dude. Everyone who voted for Joe Biden in the primaries is like, yeah, I'm not voting for Kamala Harris. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Is it interesting to you that we haven't seen a picture of Joe Biden today? We don't have a picture of him signing the letter. I mean, this is a huge decision. Also, the letter doesn't say why exactly. Why is he stepping down? He's the current. We've been talking about this for weeks. He's the current president.
So mad, dude. Come on. Look, I don't know what happens tomorrow, but today I'm going to sit, I'm going to kick back, and I'm going to enjoy the Republicans in a state of absolute panic.
Unanswered by this letter and the mystery surrounding him today.
Yeah, well, he does have COVID, so I think that's probably why we're not seeing him. You know, I just talked to Chris Coons, his co-chair, who spoke to him after this announcement.
We didn't even see Joe Biden. And also, what if maybe it wasn't him who signed it?
From people like House Speaker Mike Johnson. But I do wonder, Scott, what does this mean if Harris is the nominee? I mean, let's game this out for a second. What does that mean for the Trump campaign? Because they have been preparing to run against President Biden.
Why would he panic? Isn't this the best news for them?
After that debate in Atlanta. No. But this is,
guys, even Biden is so fucking old. Please. He was literally, what chances he has of winning right now are already marginal. They were going to only get worse from this point on. How do you not see this? Like, no, this was not good. This was a depressive voter turnout re-election, okay? This was a rerun. It was, the momentum was only in the Trump direction. I'm telling you, dude. That's the reason why Republicans are so fucking mad right now and trying everything that they can to just be like, yo, dude, it's so fucked up. It's so fucked up how they did my boy Joe Biden. Like, oh my God, all the primary voters voted for him. It's like, no, they voted for the Democrat, okay? They voted for whoever the fuck is at the top of the ticket. You have an unprecedented level of interest in a race that was unimaginably boring and uninteresting for many people who were not interested in voting at all. This is the opportunity for the Democratic Party to put forward some kind of competent leadership and actually use this blank slate in some respects to their advantage. Okay? Now it's actually no longer a fucking old person against an older person. These are the types of things that like Americans in the margins care about. Many of you are talking about like how she's a black woman, she's an Indian woman. These are the types of things that American voters care about. Yeah, sure. But you know what else they care about? Old people who are chaotic, old people who they don't really like that much, old people who have also taken away 50% of the country's fucking like reproductive rights, reproductive freedoms. Watch the Dem Party shit the bed and put a fucking conservative in the front seat. Yeah, I don't think that that's a good idea. I hope they don't do that. That's why the people that I've been mentioning are not actually conservative. Shapiro would be more conservative, in my opinion, than even like a Bashar or even Mark Kelly. Mark Kelly's pretty middle of the road as well. And the thing is, I don't really trust the Democrats. As I've said time and time again, they do have the worst fucking instincts, but this is a moment where they actually moved in a direction, albeit a difficult one, but they moved in the correct direction. So if they keep up this momentum, and they put forward a decent plan of attack, okay, and don't lean to like the more conservative losing battles like the border, and instead lean into winning battles like abortion, okay, like the economy rebounding, things of that nature, then it's a pretty solid opportunity to maintain all of those voters who were saying that they were going to vote for Joe Biden and pick up more in demographics that you need to pick up to win key states. Okay? What is this? Some points to back you up. GOP strategist Terry Sullivan tells CBS News that his fellow GOP operatives are less than enthusiastic. They're the dog that caught the car, says Scott McFarlane. Kyle Griffin, Trump desperately wanted President Biden to stay in the race, according to multiple reports. This is true. Okay, they did. They really wanted Biden. And the reason why they really wanted Biden is because they thought Biden is the candidate to beat. And there was a likelihood that Biden was the candidate to beat. But like I said, Democrats can still fuck up the bag here, but they have a wonderful opportunity. This is also a pretty solid narrative here as well. Harris is such a good candidate because she can incredibly claim the accomplishments of the administration without being held responsible for any of Biden's specific mistakes. She literally exists in the context of what came before, but is also unburdened by what has been. That is true. She can literally dismantle the genocide Joe narrative. Not to say that she will, because that requires bravery. I don't know if she's going to be courageous enough, but she has separated herself early on. She separated herself a couple months prior from Biden on this issue. Okay? I'm telling you, this also creates an opportunity to genuinely galvanize the youth vote, to genuinely get the youth vote back into action, actually coping. Kamala is not beating him. No shot, Lamau actually coping. Yeah, get ready for a lot of people basically saying that, like, she's a woman, Americans are too misogynistic, which while they simultaneously are just being that person. I think Kamala Harris is not a great candidate, but she is the one that the Democratic Party put forward. I'm just analyzing this with what I've seen so far. In a world where Joe Biden is trailing behind Donald Trump closely, despite the fact that he's a cadaver, I see a world where there's only more votes to gain in this process. The donations pouring in are coming from big ticket donors, by the way. But that is only good because it's going to lead to a lot of money being dumped in to reframing the narrative and getting people to pay attention and getting people interested in the form of ad spends. Obviously, hundreds of millions of dollars thus far was not getting that done for Joe. Okay? So there is a little bit of uncertainty there. We don't know if the hundreds of millions of dollars behind Kamala Harris is actually going to get people to be interested in Kamala Harris, is going to get people to want to vote for Kamala Harris. I suspect that it will do far better for Kamala Harris than Joe Biden. Okay? I think regular voters will get excited too. Biden just inspired no enthusiasm. Yes. How charismatic is she? Not great. She is not great, I will say. But while she's not great, this man was a cadaver, and the voters were still like, yeah, I think whoever is on the top of that ticket, I'm voting for. 67% of Democratic Party voters that said that they were voting for Biden were voting against Trump. Their main motivation was voting against Trump. You need to understand that. That is important. This is still a Trump race, okay? That's not a good race that the Republicans want to have, okay? Trump is a very unpopular person. You need to understand. This motherfucker almost got killed, and people were like celebrating. And by people, I mean not myself. I would never do such a thing, okay? But others were. I was celebrating for other reasons, you know? Maybe I was celebrating because he survived. I was excited. But like everyone was celebrating. Half of the country was celebrating. Well, not half, but you know, around 30% of the country was excited that he survived and he's like the Messiah, the second coming of Jesus Christ. The rest of the country was like, the rest of the voters at least were like, yeah, no, this is kind of sad.
Lord Almighty's not coming down.
But it wasn't enough to quell concerns.
Lord
the
Almighty
calls
did come
from
down. He got
Democrats for
COVID.
him to step aside, growing to a steady stream.
I salute President Biden. I just feel that it's time for him to step aside if we were to be able to protect what he allowed us to gain in 2020, which was a victory for democracy, but he delivered.
Yeah. He did the right thing. He did it. He got us across the finish line.
She
Come
likes
on.
a lot, knows very well. And as we saw just a little while ago, he has already come out to endorse her publicly. That happened very quickly, and I know their camps speak to each other quite often. The other names will also be familiar. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear has been mentioned a lot, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. There are clearly others, but those four names are the names I keep hearing about.
Yeah, those names have been out there for a while. Casey,
You know, I was going to say, those are the names that are in all of the conversations that I'm having right now. And we saw the Pennsylvania governor, Josh Shapiro, come out and say something very nice about Biden. From what I can tell, has yet to endorse Kamala Harris. Maybe that email has crossed, so forgive me if I'm a little bit slow on this, but I do think that's an interesting contrast in terms of when you compare it to how Mark Kelly is handling it. And obviously, they have to think a lot. And I had a lot of conversations with the RNC about this, actually, about how this race is going going to change with her at the top of the ticket, what the strengths and weaknesses of a Harris ticket are. They're different from the strengths and weaknesses with Biden at the top of the ticket, and they really have to think through that and consider that as they're thinking about picking their number two.
One of the advantages, a major advantage she had as becoming the heir apparent to the president after he drops out, was that it's the Biden-Harris campaign that raised tens of millions of dollars. And there's a ton of money in that campaign, and since it's the Biden-Harris campaign, she can continue to use that money as the presidential nominee.
That's right, and if they're worried about logistics, it is a heck of a lot, and Karen, I'm sure you can weigh in on this, logistically easier to have Kamala Harris be the top of the ticket here. The other thing that you, I think, have to think through, and I was having a conversation with a very smart operative that's been in Kamala Harris's circle in the past, has been inside the Biden administration. They were arguing, as someone who has advised a lot of candidates, right? If you are Josh Shapiro, if you are Andy Bashir, if you are someone that has national ambitions, what is the right move for you right now? Putting yourself out there, angering an enormous segment of the party in black voters by challenging Kamala Harris, and also just potentially going on to lose either that fight or the election, won both. Instead, you could be her number two, be seen as someone who is stepping up for the party. And if Democrats lose in November, you've only been on the ticket for 80 days. Is it really your fault? So I think that there's some of that going on behind the scenes, too.
Audie, I want to get your thoughts on how the African
of this entire thing. I would say, I mean, think about it. I think it was May 30th that we were all sitting here talking about how the race would change sentence caps because of Trump's conviction.
Right now, on the other hand, the donors were completely in line with what the broad majority wanted. Oh, dude, by the way, this is awesome. If Kamala Harris does this, she actually wins, okay?
So I don't buy that argument that impeachment does not make sense, Senate will acquit. I don't buy that argument. There needs to be accountability. I mean, what are you going to do in the next 1 year to diminish the mentally retarded action of this guy?
He called him mentally R-worded Trump, and Kamala Harris's response was,
well said, well said. I plan to win this election, I'll tell you.
Bro, that's so funny that this is the attack ad from the RNC Research Lab. This is what you cooked up. If she keeps that momentum, is the RNC Research trying? If she keeps that momentum, that's free promo, okay? Because, like, obviously, those who would care about ableism are not going to care about ableism enough to be like, I'm not voting for fucking whoever the Democrat is over Donald Trump. And all you're doing is like showing at least like people who are on the RNC research side, maybe in the margins, that like, she's a little bit more lighthearted than the annoying, woke, scoldy ass Democrats.
As well as different groups. You're going to continue to see throughout the afternoon different progressive groups and members of Congress come out and acknowledge their support for her. Yeah.
I was just going to say, we've got to take a quick break. We're going to continue all of our analysis, all of our reporting right after this. We'll be right back.
Okay, bro. They're fucking farming. They are farming commercial breaks harder than I do at the top of the hour, okay? God damn. God, dude. At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break, by the way. And if you no longer want to see those ads, if you want an uninterrupted broadcast experience, all you need to do is subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Twitch Primes are free. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Here is the 3-minute ad break now. It's coming for you. Terrible transition, decent on yours. Okay, my transition was good, dude. I used the wolf transition to segue into the ad break. Come on now. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Okay.
Democratic nominee. It's been an extraordinary day of developments. We are just coming off on the heels of the Republican National Convention and that attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Of course, we were also just about 100 days out from the November election and also just a few weeks away from the Democratic National Convention. There are so many questions here about what happens next. Will Vice President Kamala Harris face a challenge on the Democratic side? How will the convention play out? She does not have a delegate just yet. But there are still just so much more to cover in this race as we continue to follow these extraordinary developments. Our team learned earlier today that this was a decision that was made very quickly by President Biden. His aides, his closest advisors, shocked by this decision as the president officially announces that he is stepping out of this race. As I mentioned earlier, our coverage continues on ABC News and abcnews.com. Again, we'll be right back here on World News.
Sir, the edits are pouring in. What do we do? The GOP aides? You think Jill offered? Okay, dude. No, I don't think Jill Biden offered head if Joe Biden backs out. I think Jill Biden did not want Joe Biden to back out really bad. Where are the Kamala memes auntie pilled? What do you mean? She is like the most auntie coded auntie out there. What are we talking about? Like another edit, old but gold.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
By the way, for those of you who are unfamiliar, this is the reason why people say they're coconut pilled when talking about Kamala Harris, because she, whether deliberately or without recognized, did historical materialism and basically said, like, you know, this is like all of history that came before it weighs on the consciousness of the newest generation, and it's true. It's a correct statement to make. And you know, that's why people say they're the coconut army. And by people, I mean us. We say we are the coconut army. Fuck the K-Hive. They were so fucking fake. They were so goddamn fake, dude. I said, I am in awe. I'm shocked that all of the K-Hivers did not give a shit about Kamala Harris possibly replacing Joe Biden. And we're basically saying, like, no, Kamala Harris is not an adequate replacement. Meanwhile, Coconut Army rose up through the ranks and said they're coconut pilled and they are riding with Mamala. Okay, fake ass fans over at the K-Hive, phonies, all of them.
You exist in the context. Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. Kosher salt. Fresh ground pepper, maybe chop up a little thyme. You could also chop up, but not with the thyme, just the salt and pepper. Mix that up also with some thyme. You could even do a little rosemary if you want. The context of all in which you live and what came before you, based with butter. Yes, hi.
Kamala Brat edit.
You just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
I'm just living that life. Fun Dutch cult classic, but I still pop every time my track drops. You're jealous. I'm just living that life.
Everything is in context.
Basement that you
My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
One other thing that I do have to mention is that Kamala Harris being a black woman, Kamala Harris being an Indian woman, Kamala Harris coming from Kamala Harris's dad, Donald Harris, being like a Stanford Marxist economist, is going to make the Republicans so crazy. And they're going to say, like, they're basically not going to be able to hold back. And here's James Lindsay doing exactly that. Let's talk about Kamala Harris saying to see what can be unburdened by what has been. This phrase, which she repeats all the time, is not mysterious. It's esoteric. That is, it's a cult. It's a Marxist and Luciferian incantation. What? And that's easily seen. If you think that your dad and your mom that are like, you know, moderates, independents, who have voted for either party throughout their lives, are going to look at this and go, no, that's right. I'm actually also just as schizo as James fucking Lindsay. You're wrong. I said this exact same thing about the trans panic, right? Trans panic and like right-wing populism that hyper-focused on like children's genitalia was objectively gross for the normal Republicans, for the normal voters. And that's why the red wave that was supposed to be a massive typhoon turned into a red puddle in the midterms. Okay, that was one of the big reasons why like this level of this kind of narrative going absolutely crazy mode on the timeline in front of all that running candidates that repeat terms like this specifically made it gross, too gross for people to vote for. And you saw that. You saw that in the electoral defeats that occurred in the midterms. So I think that there's one other aspect of this where Republicans just go balls to the wall and just start saying really insane shit that, you know, is off-putting. Really insane shit that's off-putting to normal Republicans. Okay? Gretchen Whitmer is 10x the candidate Kamala is, though? Yes, of course. I think Gretchen Whitmer is a significantly better candidate than Kamala Harris. I agree. But Kamala Harris is on the ticket, and Kamala Harris has the endorsement. It's the easiest swap out that shows that it is not a chaotic switchover, but instead a guided, well-directed, well-orchestrated choice that Biden made himself. If he keeps up being a fucking petty bitch from this point on and isn't just going along with like, this is what we did. I made this decision because I think she's great. I made this decision because I'm a fan. I made this decision. I chose her as my vice president because I knew I had full confidence that she could be the president one day. If they don't do that, which I still don't know, but if they don't do that, and if they just like have messaging discipline and they ride with her from this point on until November, then the likelihood that she wins the race goes up by a lot. Lazily taking the least confrontational choice is the best way to win. Neither the best way to win nor the best thing for voters. We need that open convention. I think you're wrong. I'll admit that I'm wrong if that happens and then it's like a banger, but I think that you're wrong on this. I think that's a massive self-own. It'd be great for content. Like, it would be great. It would be great for content. Like, I'm talking 200K viewers average every day for me. Okay. But I still don't think it's the right idea for making sure that Donald Trump doesn't become president. You know?
It was not a matter of getting to the convention unless he was planning on staying in. If he was going to get out, he needed to get out right now, like the beginning of this week, in order to give whoever succeeds him, he wanted it to be his vice president, the best chance to consolidate the party. And that is already happening right now. I'm just speaking to several sources who are telling me Vice President Harris is calling around on Capitol Hill. She's calling around to Democratic organizations. She has a list of dozens of calls that she's making today and tonight. The message is what she said in her statement. You've been with us up until this point. I'm asking for your support. Stay with us. But the ball is in motion now. And she's starting, from what I've been told, with two of the biggest constituencies in the Democratic Party, the Congressional Black Caucus, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. She's made calls to the heads of both of those organizations today. That's, again, I keep having to emphasize this because I think when we talk about voters of color in the Democratic Party, it sounds like, a talking point, but this is a party that is powered by voters of color, by members of color, the DNC, the delegates who will eventually vote to decide who is the nominee. Those people, the most powerful figures in those constituencies are black men, black women, Hispanic men, Hispanic women. She knows that. She is working those lines, and I think she's trying to lock this in. As a source told me, a fundraising source told me, it's 24 to 48 hours. That is what people are looking at. And if she can show a real command of this race, it will be over within just a matter of days.
And Jim Clyburn
has
getting
a press
behind
conference
her. A lengthy
starting
statement
at
right at the end,
5:15
said,
in 5 minutes.
What President Biden said to endorse her as the next nominee. What does the next?
Robert F. Kennedy's got a press conference. We're really locked in on that. We'll get to it when he does it.
She's the heir apparent to this nomination, but she said, "I'm going to work to earn this nomination."
And that's what working to earn it looks like. You don't say the president named me and it's me, and because I'm a black woman, you have to give it to me, or you're a racist or a sexist. She's not doing that. She is doing the hard work. She's calling the power centers in this party. She's calling black organizations. She's calling Hispanic organizations. I guarantee.
That would be so Hillary Clinton coded, and I'm glad that that's not what's happening.
Exactly what I mean. Yeah. So she's doing what needs to be done, and that's the way it's supposed to be. We are a party. We have rules for our rules to create the rules that make the rules. We are a rule-based party, and so she is following the rules.
And that is happening right now. I mean, look, this is a really critical period for the Democratic National Committee. They're having meetings. There's a meeting planned for the end of this week about the rules for the convention. And so this is happening right now. They're going to be putting it in overdrive, trying to establish what that process looks like for the convention with a nominee unsettled. So it's a high wire act right now for the entire party. They are aware of that. But right now, the work in the vice president's office is just moving at a frenzied pace.
And see, you want to see how smart it is, though. Because there is a process, if you think you've got a better shot, you can jump in the water. Kamala Harris, she said, look, the water's warm, jump in. But once you go through the process, then you have to support our nominee. And so we're going to have a process. It's going to be clear and transparent. Everybody's going to understand what it is. And then once we have a nominee, and it looks like it's going to be Kamala Harris, then everybody, you had your moment. If you want to jump in. The water's warm. But once we have a nominee, everybody has to get behind her.
I mean, and what does that look like, though, in the sense of for 3 weeks, we have seen a major division in the Democratic Party of those who thought Biden should get out and said it. A lot of people thought it and didn't say it because they didn't want to. They thought he should make it on his own. And then other people who were firmly behind him. I mean, it is a question of a unified front, what that looks like as we wait to see, does anyone else get in the race?
Yeah, I mean, look, everyone that I have spoken to, there's no question that once the vice president, if she is able to consolidate this quickly and show strength and get the majority of the power centers in the party behind her, there will be an immediate effort to consolidate around her. And everyone that I've talked to believes that this change at the top is going to lead to an injection of an enormous amount of energy that, frankly, Caitlin, has been notably.
Joe Biden has served our country with honor and dignity as the first president to ever walk out on a picket line with striking workers. He has been the most pro-working class president in modern American history. Thank you, Mr. President, for all you've done. I mean, he's also a genocidaire, but Bernie doesn't give a fuck about that. But he's not wrong when he says he is the first president to ever walk on a picket line with striking workers. That's like objectively a true thing that Joe Biden did. It's like one of the things that I have defended Joe Biden on across the board against the naysayers. And I say this is someone who was not going to vote for Joe Biden. Like I literally openly said, I ain't voting for genocide Joe. I'm not doing it. And I openly said it. I openly said, I ain't voting for Joe Biden. And I know there's a lot of dudes in Michigan, a lot of people in Michigan who also feel the same way. There's a lot of people who are young that otherwise could be convinced to vote for someone else, but not for Biden. Okay? It's my red line. You want Trump to win so bad, man? If I wanted Trump to win so bad, I would have absolutely advocated for Joe Biden to stay in the fucking race. Also, actually, no, fuck that. If I want Trump to win so bad, I'll just advocate for Trump. What are you talking about?
Damn, this guy's good.